And welcome back, everybody. It is Season 3 of the Overwatch League here with, of course, the Welsh Esports seasons. But my name is Edu, and I'm joined by Golu. How you doing today?
Doing wonderful. It's lovely to be back with Welsh Esports League. It's wonderful to be back with you again, Edu. You know what? Overwatch 2, it's been a while since I've been able to sort of jump on into the fray, and I'm looking forward to seeing maybe some of the new heroes, so maybe get a bit of a Lari today. That'd be good fun. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what the teams have in store for us before we can make any bold predictions.
Yeah, in talking about these teams and what we actually have, I mean, right now, I believe we have, of course, quite a few people that we've seen before here at the Welsh Esports League. We've seen the Pirates, the Pit Ponies. These guys love stopping in. Swans, of course, Artists, Goats, Puffins, Robins. Everybody is kind of a reoccurring theme. And this, of course, is the teams for all of the season. I know we have 8 of these teams that are going to be participating in the Overwatch event side of things. And this is, of course, a 3-week period. But looking at these 8 teams, you know, we recognize a lot of the names. One name that stands out to us is actually EO. And go ahead and tell me what that stands for.
That stands for Esports Organization. Yes, it's very clean, very to the point. You know what? There's this whole movement in branding go towards sort of minimalism, right? Simplicity. And they hit the nail on the head with this one. The logo, very much in theme with that as well. So you know what? Respect, the branding is all very much on point. It says what it does on the can. But I think it will be interesting this season. Obviously, the format change is going to be quite big. Rather than having one group with just all the teams in, they play a single round robin. Whoever's on top at the end, well, that's our victor. This time around, they've been split into 2 groups of 4. The top 2 teams from each of those groups progressing towards our semi-finals, where obviously the winner from Group A will play the runner-up from Group B, and vice versa. And you pair that with, obviously, a grand final to kick the whole thing off. And that will be a little bit more interesting, right? With how these teams are split between us. Our first matchup today, the Swans versus the Pit Ponies, is an iconic matchup here, right? Because the Pit Ponies and the Swans, they've both been teams that have played in both of our 2 previous seasons here in the Welsh Esports League. And both of them have finished Swans 2nd, Pit Ponies 3rd, both seasons. The Artists have been a very dominant team. They're always the one at the top. But these 2 teams are battling it out for 2nd and 3rd every single season. And to see them play up against each other on the first play day is very different. Usually we get this matchup quite late into the season. This time it's front and center. So maybe in this group with no Artists in that group, Artists are in Group B, maybe this is an opportunity for one of those 2 teams, potentially both of them, to be seeing that semi-final spots, and one of them to be pushing on to that grand final. You know what? I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited here. I know that we're going to be starting off with, of course, Pit Ponies on the blue team, on the side that's going to be just trying to make their worth out. And, of course, on the other side, we need to see how they're going to be able to battle it out against, I would think that the Swans, being a team that we know has dominated in the past 2 seasons, they're kind of like, they come in strong. And in this new bracket, in this new style, shout out to the way that we have the format changed compared to the last 2 seasons. Instead of just an overall round robin, whoever takes the most games at the end wins. This time it's a group stage with a little bit of a round robin, then into an actual single elimination playoff. So we're seeing something different. So there's a lot more on the line in these group stages. As if you don't perform, it's not that you don't make any money, it's that you don't even get it to playoffs, and that impacts you a lot more than before. So I'm hoping that they're going to be able to pop off. Obviously, the Swans and the Artists I've also watched perform on the Valorant sides of things, and their Valorant team is also one of the best. So Swans, I'm hoping that, are you going to be able to find your love of your life for the rest of your life with how you play Overwatch? I mean, these guys know what to do. But Golu, as you were talking about, new heroes have awakened in the Overwatch program again. And, every time we see a new hero of recently, either they're incredibly broken or they are so bad that no one wants to pick them. Case in point, Lifeweaver. That guy, I don't think saw any competitive play for the longest time when he came out. Yeah. So.
And I don't think we're going to see too much Lifeweaver today. I think Alari is one that can definitely crop up, right? The turret does. I think some of the math breakdown has nearly the same healing output as Mercy, just the turret by itself. It's 50 healing per second, if I'm not mistaken, and I mean, that's just insane to have on a turret that you can throw down and have a living throughout a team fight if you can place it well enough, a little bit back away from the danger zone. It has a decent amount of HP itself, so if your opponents want to try and shut that down to take away that healing output, that's damage going into something which isn't one of your teammates. And you know what? I think you're happy to make that trade, right? You send 200 damage off into a little turret, and you just kill them in the meantime. Plus, you pair that with the fact that the Solar Blast is really strong if you can hit enough players. I mean, you're looking at dealing nearly half the health with a second explosion shortly afterwards, where it becomes immediate panic mode for the enemy team. Can we heal up ourselves enough to avoid the impact explosion follow-up? So I am interested to see if Illari is someone that creeps up into the forefront, but we have been seeing a lot of sort of your standard stuff, right? A lot of Lucio is still going to be hanging around, Baptiste making some appearances with how valuable that lamp is, especially in 5v5, with the ability to find picks coming a little bit more fluidly. So, you know, what we see from the support lineup I think is going to be pretty interesting with the additions of both Lifeweaver and Illari since our last season.
Yeah, and these new updates, I mean, this character is the replacement to Moira. We might not even see a Moira anymore because of how strong this player is DPS-wise and, of course, healing. I mean, competing with Mercy while doing the damage of Sojourn sometimes. I mean, depending on who's on them, they really rock it. So let's see when these guys are actually going to be able to hop on in, get into our best of 5 in Game 1, and see who actually takes it for a single point in this round-robin bracket here. So I'm pretty excited to jump straight into this game moving forward. But let me ask you, what are your predictions for who's going to be taking Game 1? And I'm hoping that we're going to be opening it up with some solid gameplay to start us off and maybe set the stage for what's going to be going on later.
Well, I'd have to give just historically, you're looking at the background. I think Swans should be able to take this. Both of these teams coming into it have a very similar core lineup to what they've had in the past season. Even going back, some of them, you know, keeping pretty similar. You're seeing a lot of returning names. Ron, Leon, you'll remember, Iron Move, you'll remember, all Pulse, Ace, all playing for the Swans last time around as well. So I think the Swans should have sort of baseline advantage coming in, but it's always been a close series between these two teams. I think it really could be swung either way. I think it's different in the lineup going out recently. Seeing both the Lucio and the Baptiste, of course. A little bit of variation in that tank and in the DPS lineup. I don't know if we're going to see Iron Noob sticking with the Symmetra, or if this is something to teleport out and he'll swap onto like a Reaper, which he's been known to play a lot. Reaper not being quite so strong at the moment, but it looks like he is just sticking with the Symmetra.
And honestly, Symmetra, I think, is a decent pick here, but they also have to worry about the Bastion as well. And they're already on the site going into some early fights. And there we go. The Bastion comes up big, takes out one of the support agents. That's not going to make it easy. But Ramatra, one of the newer tanks, has already proven himself a bit. But old school is where we're seeing this player just absolutely dominate a double charge kill before finally cleaned up. But no, you can't clean out. There is more picks. Lion here is just working so well on the Reinhardt. And that is a explosive way to start off for the Pit Ponies.
Yeah, using the Symmetra teleporter to get themselves onto that point with the Bastion Reinhardt advantage, they can really play around the increased burst damage from Bastion in Sentry form. And now you're looking back to the point, yeah, the Ramatra is great into the Reinhardt because you can do that damage through the shield, but it doesn't matter if they're going to keep pumping damage through the choke, going Sentry as well to really force this Ramatra back. And there's so little they can do against this Bastion. The Lamp being committed early just to try and keep the Ramatra alive, and this teamfight is, again, with full control. Pit Ponies can slowly walk themselves backwards while Swans are left licking their wounds.
Yeah, Swan's not able to penetrate through, and the Pit Ponies are just having a heyday here. But let's see if Lion is going to just keep doing what they do. This is a just full-on battle, but with the Baptiste, beautiful save. They're already popping the wall, the window, and with that, this is not going to be easy.
Oh, he's
and that's
got
a
it as
double
well.
down. Oh, Lion, I mean, we are watching the MVP. He is just slapping him with this hammer, and that's going to be a team kill right away, and already 50% on map 1.
Rough is the only way I can really put that there, right? You're trying the window, drop down, the lamp coming through to keep Lion alive, do so much damage. The freeze, the wall, separating off from the team, it isn't enough. And that's the Bastion being able to burst it down. The ultimate coming through, they're forcing themselves through the tunnels. It forces them out into the open where they can get ready to engage onto them. The first Bongo going down, the Blizzard does come through and is able to get them the kills that they need to try and free up some space. But the hammer to stop the Ramatra from pushing further through, pairing up with a double fire strike to make sure Ace can't get into the backline either. And Baptiste jumping up and down, but it's not really going to be enough to stall for as long as possible. They're not going to let him get a kill. They're going to wait for him to die, and that's why he jumps off the edge of the map to get that reset so the team can reform. There's 85% on the point already, and the Swans haven't even had a glimpse of it yet so far in this game. Ultimate still lined up here for Bron as well, so it's going to be a hard kill to try and find.
Yeah, I gotta say, whose idea was it to give a double fire strike to Reinhardt? I mean, that is so strong with the shatter combo, as it should be, but I am noob. The Symmetra's just cleaning up, and here we have Septi putting her arms up and trying to block a Bastion, and of course that's only going to delay the inevitable with overtime cooking up here, and Lion just swinging right through him. The Mei has to find something, but it ain't going to be an amazing clutch. No, it's going to be a hammer to the face, and Golu, this is looking like a very flawless Pit Pony sided round.
They came out with a trick play, right? They pulled out the Bastion Symmetra, they're running the Reinhardt, they have a very clear identity for what they want to do on this point. We get to the point early, we make sure that we are in control for when it flips. We use the Sentry, we're pocketing around it with the, the Baptiste has the lamp. We can speed boost the Bastion to get it into position when we want it. Brilliant stuff to play around this key piece in a lineup, and just using that to completely dominate your opponent. No adaptation coming in from the Swans. I think that's what we really needed to see. We needed to see a change-up from them. How are you going to deal with this Bastion? You can't keep running into it with Ramatra. Ramatra might be one of the most comfortable hit tanks to have to take on as a Bastion. It has no gap close. It has no CC ability. It's just going to walk at you and try and tank as much damage as possible, and you don't have the healing output between the Baptiste and the Lucio to really make that work. You've got to get on it quickly, close that gap, and get the damage in, and this time they're going for a Hammond to try and rectify that mistake. But it doesn't matter. Orpheus is down already.
I mean, these guys are just sending it. Look at this. Lion does not care. He knows that he can trust his supports. He's going to fire strike right through Bongo, and Bongo gets bopped, leaving now nothing to really contest. I mean, a Hammond, but come on. This Wrecking Ball, yes, it's a great pick if you can get on site and start to stall, but you're not even going to have an opportunity to do that. Septi switching off the Ramatra for the Hamster might be a decent idea, as they're just making some space, running themselves in. But Orpheus, I want to see what you can do as Septi's down, and just give it up. And what is that?
Mate, Lion's on another level.
Oh, dude, Lion's so good.
It's his world, and we're just living in it. I mean, the charge, committing to the full length, able to hit the Tracer right at the end as well. Orpheus lurking around, but there's really no point in him being here. He's just going to die eventually, and now the team has to wait another 7 seconds for him to respawn before they can take another attempt at fighting for the point. Hammond, just back up, guys. Just take your losses on this one. Instead, they just keep feeding into the meat grinder that is this Pit Ponies lineup. Now investing the Pulse Bomb as well for very little. They're not able to flip the point. They're not able to get control. And it just wastes time, wastes ultimates. Guys, set up for a 5.
No way. And Lion, you can't do it to him like that. He did it to him like that. Jesus. Oh my. Okay, so we know who the MVP is, but I think that this is going to be just a habit that Lion's making of it right now. This Reinhardt knows how to play pretty well, and this Lion has a lot to be prideful of. But of course, let's see if they have any ability to now try to retake this site. Their team composition is so squishy outside of just that single Wrecking Ball. So let's see if they can find something. Their Tracer just inching their way around, but there's not much they can do. Symmetra's cooking on site, and wait a minute, they're starting to get some picks. The ultimates are coming out. Beautiful minefield.
Tried to use the beat to save the Bastion, but he'd already gone down, and now it's the Symmetra trying to hold down the point, splitting it in half to just massively reduce the damage output coming out from the Swans. And you can see Lion still alive, being supported, the Shatter coming through, the Kiriko able to keep themselves alive through that really well, but the Bastion is gone. It's back into the fray already because they've committed so far towards enemy spawn, and without the point being able to flip in the chaos, Symmetra gets back in time. Orpheus does take them down, and eventually the Swans will have their first look at control on the point. It is overtime though, which means, well, any amount of damage, well, any flip will be a successful round and map win here for the Pit Ponies, but they have to reset themselves up just a little bit. This lineup, though, coming out from the Swans, it's built to move in quickly and take ground. I don't know how well it's going to do at holding on to space. And you can see this Pit Ponies just showing zero respect. They're just running around the left-hand side.
I mean, what does Pit Ponies really have to show respect for? They got Lions here. And yeah, with all the respect given, they're just really taking tiny little ticks of damage. No one's really getting impacted too much. And if they do, a Baptiste is going to come through and save every single time. And look at that. They TP right onto site. They're ready to just execute everyone. And the Bastion having to struggle to connect these picks. But the High Noon comes through. But as soon as it pops, it is dropped. And there's a triple kill. The Hammond just panicking, trying to get this player. And they hold it. Beautiful job. And now I'm looking at a potential comeback here and bringing us to map 3 in game 1.
Well, 50%, they're halfway there. Not too much further to go. Still no changes coming out from either side. particularly the ponies here, who still want to rely on this Bastion. They have the ult built up. Close to another shatter, close to a window for Equa as well. So if they can get that going with the sentry, it's going to be a lethal amount of damage. But they're popping the sentry early just to try and catch out Orpheus, who's running around the edge of the building, has been booped back away. The Hammond going down low, but popping the minefield just to try and create a separation between the players of the team. The Tracer, 1 HP, going to be forced to use the recall, ends up behind the Bastion, engaging in. The pulse bomb coming through, and is able to get the kill. In the meantime, the rest of the site has been completely locked down. The minefield just stopping the cross of the bridge for the Swans, and now the point ticking closer and closer to the edge. This Hammond has worked out beautifully for them.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't have the Hammond, the other player I'm really looking forward to is Ace. The way that they just dipped the Bastion there, just movement down all the way to aim, but here we go. We're seeing a nice orbital strike, might be able to find some kind of damage, but actually they all just walk away from it as Ace is just making his space here, but there's the window. And a window into their souls. Let's see if they're going to be able to find something. And Lion actually switched off of the Reinhardt onto the D.Va. And this D.Va is making some noise. Might be able to take out one. And yes, unfortunately, the Kiriko can't do a lot. And Lion just keeps bullying these players. And there it is. With overtime, they will be taking this match, or at least map 1.
Well, it was a lot closer than the ponies would have liked it to be after such a dominant control of the first point there. But you know what? I think they'll be happy to take the win either way. Forced to go onto that D.Va instead. And the D.Va doing a decent bit of work in that last fight to give them the opportunity to dive back and really just be that staying presence on the middle of the point. Still obviously rocking that Bastion to try and get the damage in the backline. And that's all what worked out very well for them. But like you say, a lot of credit has to go to Ace on that Tracer, who did a brilliant job at disrupting a lot of the sort of staying power of that Bastion, getting behind it, forcing it to draw its attention behind itself so that the rest of the team can move in pretty comfortably. And without that Bastion to whittle away at the Hammond, you can move through a lot more comfortably and you can really take that team fight yourself. So brilliant job, just understanding the role of that specific pick in the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, bringing out some, not exactly meta heroes, but doing everything that you need to very effectively on that. And also, Lion also taking in that adaptation, switching from the Reinhardt, which was, I believe, countered pretty heftily by the Hammond. He was able to just constantly move this guy around and not give him the space that he wanted. Switching over to D.Va to answer to that and be able to bounce right back if you get just hammered down. And D.Va, hard counter to Hammond. The dude's just a perfect ball, and when you have a scatter shotgun like D.Va's infinite range and infinite weapon, it's pretty clean. So I'm liking what we're seeing. But we now have to see the next map here, as that is map 1 of a best of 5, and I'm hoping that we can see maybe something more from the Swans. The Pit Ponies have been decimating them. I mean, that's a 2-0 to start us off and a flawless on the first map. So, Golu, moving into the next part here, what would you like to see different from the Swans?
Oh no, it's going to be interesting, right? The Swans have the choice of the map that they want to bring out next. So what do you go for here? I think you have to just continue playing sort of fundamental play. I think you want to pick something that really leans into the idea of very fast and mobile Overwatch, which is clearly what they've been leaning to, right? I mean, they had this initial idea of coming out with the Ramatra. I think if the Bastion is a staying point with the lineup from the ponies, I think that's something that you're just going to have to cut your losses on and drop out. There's better options, I think, for you. You're looking at something maybe like a D.Va. Do you pull out the defense matrix, bring one of your own, try and diminish the ability of that Bastion during the Sentry, because that's when it's at its most lethal. Outside of Sentry, sure, it does have a gun still, but it's a lot more of a manageable hero to sort of get under control. So that's the play, I think. Find the windows in that Bastion, jump on it quickly, and they're putting a lot of resources into investing in supporting the Bastion. If you can take that away from them, the rest of the comp really falls apart, and we saw that in the team fights that Swans were successful in. They were successful when they split the Bastion away from its supporting pieces, and they won out the rest of the fight.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we're going to see them win out this next one, as it's going to be on King's Row. Let's see who's going to be crowned king in game 2. As we know, King's Row is going to be that capture and push map. I doubt that we're not going to see at least one capture. It's mainly a payload, but with how solid Pit Ponies have been playing, there might be a chance that they bring the heat on the defense and make it so you can't even get a single tick. And I've seen it happen. We saw a Mei get pulled out. Mei is amazing on King's Row. Talking about those heroes that might bring some pretty powerful gameplay. I think that we're going to be ready to get into now map number 2. Kings Row should be seeing some decent snipers. I know a lot of the players on this team are very versatile, so we saw Tracers for the hit and Cassidy for the hit scan. So let's hope that we're going to be seeing some Hanzos, maybe some other stuff. Well, let's just jump into it, Golo.
Yeah, the Widowmaker is always a potential one to come out for false, but I think the one that I'm really interested in is that Mei that you mentioned. I Am Noob has played it before. Is still going to be rocking out the Symmetra? No, the Echo instead. I mean, this is obviously in the attacking spawn, so there is plenty of opportunities for that to change. Some time for them to figure out exactly what they want to bring in. But Ace coming out on that Mei, like we potentially talked about. So, you know what? That's gonna be out here, right? You're rocking the wall. You're gonna try and split people off, and with Gwyn coming in on the Reinhardt now, you're looking at this ability to fight right up in the faces of the Pit Ponies. Pit Ponies still rocking that Bastion, of course. So yes, you have a giant shield. That's great. How long is that shield staying around for? Let's be realistic. Bastion, pretty good at melting those shields.
Well, if they synchronize with, of course, Ace, they can use the Mei wall as a pseudo shield while the Ryan revives it. So I think that they should have enough time to just wait it. But look at this. Attack doesn't care. They're just running it down already right through, teleporting on a site. The power of the Symmetra gives their team right on there. And actually, Ace just walled it off for them. And that's going to be a free tick as well. This is not going the way that we wanted it to go for the side of the Swans. And unfortunately, defense has to fight their hearts out. Gwyn needs to make it Gwynnable. You could almost have the opportunity to, but you're going to have to get these picks and attack. They're kind of getting forced all the way into this corridor. And defense, they have managed to re-secure the site.
Yeah, they've been forced back, but you've only really lost Bron. The core of this lineup still very much intact. The Symmetra are able to use the teleport to get them around if they need to. The Mei walling themselves up onto the top floor. They're just dropping back. The Reinhardt just appearing in their backlines, but they should be able to focus us down. Instead, it's Gwyn taking control of the situation, taking down the Bastion, and forcing the remnants of the Pit Ponies to go fleeing back to their spawn. Just chasing them back now to make sure that every single man goes down, but at the end of the day, that's still a really good bit of progress for the Pit Ponies off their first push. Good amount of ultimate charge built up, even though now Ace and Gwyn both have full ultimates of their own. So between the Blizzard and the Earthshatter, they should be able to have a decent amount of CC to prevent any more trick plays, some shenanigans coming out. But having said that, they're just teleporting straight back again.
Yeah, I mean, is it a trick play or is it the trick? These guys are now murdering everybody that they can. Defense kind of stuck just Gwyn, Ace, and this Baptiste, but I Am Noob actually is going to get sniped down, and there we go. A shatter will come through, but it's not going to connect to much. Unfortunately, Lion is coming back with a vengeance, and these guys are just trying to beat each other up around the bush, and they're doing it again. Just a full-on battle, but Lion's the one that comes out on top, and here we have it. That is every defender down, and I don't think there's a chance that they can touch this, so it's payload time.
Payload time. We love some payload time. And I think, you know what, the biggest thing for me in that last fight was just consistency coming in from Leon once again, just doing a great job, just making sure he stays alive and continuously gets damage down onto the opponents. He just always feels like he's getting a little bit more value out of this Reinhardt. And now you're looking at the next stage of the map. Still, Bongo rocking this Cassidy, just trying to get the long damage down. And again, they were walking very up close to this choke point to try and get through. The wall coming through from Ace early, but it's immediately met by the Symmetra walling off both ways. And you can see the damage really struggling to get through onto Leon at this point, which has enabled him to avoid the timeout on that sentry and then just walk up through. The rest of the line has nothing to do. Now the Bastion comes through, cleans up house. And this payload is going to continue rolling, despite a nice little effort by Ace to try and catch them off. The preparation from Iron Noob ready to drop that barrier just made that effectively useless against them. And they just walk up, continue rolling the point. And you're looking at potentially one good fight coming on out now because of how much progress they were able to get in the background of that last engagement.
And in looking at that engagement, I got to point out, it only took 2 attempts to take the first point, so it's going to have to take a lot more attempts for defense to push these guys off of the cart, and they're just now trying to hold it down. But Gwyn, you're going to have to buy the space for your team, and unfortunately, the window's coming through. Beautiful Mei wall by Ace, but window plus Bastion, another window. It's just kind of cycling through. The Lion is taking out False immediately and keeps up the aggression, grabs Gwyn as well. Bongo's here. Ace is trying to find some real DPS, but it is now less than a meter away, and with a meter to be here, these guys are just taking another point. 4 minutes 20 seconds on the clock, and they have not wasted a single second of that time.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit rough on the side of the Swans here. Not really able to find any of these good engagements, and we're seeing Bongo make that adjustment, going onto a Bastion of their own. Maybe this is just the solution. I mean, Sato just having so much value on this pick will get booped off the map. So here's the opportunity. A fight with no Bastion. You have to try and look for the engagement now, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Use the wall to force Leon to go down an uncomfortable path, stuck in the tunnel with a Mei and a Lion. A Lion? A Reinhardt. That's not going to help. The Mei of their own coming in from Ace from the behind is able to take down Equa now, and so finally, Bongo coming in. I am Noob does get to shut him down, but it's enough. They've stopped the progression on that payload. They've created a little bit of breathing room for themselves now.
Yeah, and if you have that breathing room, then you're not going to choke on this round. You can't really. I mean, it's a best of 5, so if we see this, that's match point advantage over to the side of the Pit Ponies. But this is only the attack side for Pit so far. We haven't seen how they play on defense. It could be a lot worse, but of course, they're just giving up that space. They need to hold the choke point that's going to be coming around right here is the main way to contest it. In 3 minutes on the clock, let's see if they're going to be able to hold it in this spot. But I see the shatter. Gwyn sees it. You just got to find the connection. And there it is. It does a wonderful job grabbing 2. And the Sim is just locking it down as well. But Attack doesn't care. They're mowing through this. And all of the healing cannot be stopped. And these guys are just dropping it. But the Bastion down again. Bongo, a little bit of a Bastion diff. We're looking at a nearly mirrored team composition here. Only difference is what Ace is bringing with the Mei, and it's doing an amazing job.
Yeah, it really is. Just the wall especially being able to break off parts of this Pit Ponies attack, and you can see now they've got the Bastion of their own to really limit the ability of Leon to move on in comfortably. They're having much more success. Oh, able to take Bongo down already though, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. The first Blizzard coming out. They're able to drop the beat to keep everyone alive, walling off Lion himself, as now he goes very low, but is able to get back out to safety using that shield for a little bit of separation between the two teams. Ace in the background getting chunked down as I am Noob on the main now himself is able to slip in behind and take down 2, and the rest of Pit Ponies follow up as well. So finally able to now get that payload back rolling once more. Bongo in that long range engagement against Sato, but has to back away. Doesn't have the support of the rest of the team and is low on HP. Don't want to die.
Wow, and let's hope that they're not going to get taken out quite yet. Now just running it down, but there's a little bit of damage across the way. The car is inching ever so closer to ending this with 1 minute and 30 left. They just have to work this through, but there we go. Bongo, he's been on a lot of hit scans, and this time he's hitting them, but also taking so much. Where are the heals coming through, as that is another player false? The Baptiste, Battle Baptiste, is getting a triple kill, and that's exactly what you need to do. And the supports are killing more than the cores. Defense, they just wiped it with Orpheus getting a double and False with a triple.
Well, it is the best role in the game. I mean, support players are the smartest, most mechanically gifted, smartest, bestest players on the team. It's just everyone knows that.
Of course.
Lining up now. You do still have both Bash and ults available, as well as both Shatters. Sato dropping his early to force back the defense, is able to actually take down Ace. So a massive opening, as well as the lamp from False. This gives so much value to them. Bonjo does go down to the Shatter as well, so now they can just walk through the rest of this payload. Baptiste on the high ground shouldn't be alive for much longer, shouldn't be relevant to the point for much longer, as they're running out of spawn, but it's too late for Ace to get back. So they just boop him back, wall him off. There's no way you're going to be able to contest this off. The Hammond is able to get there, as well as dropping a Blizzard of their own, which frees everyone on the point. The Bongo ult coming through to get 2, both Bron and Sato go down. And now, just with the Hammond able to live through, they've somehow done it. The lamp to save Hammond at the end there as well, just making sure they bide the time needed. 0.6 meters left on this payload. 10 seconds. They're not going to be able to complete the map. A wonderful bit of last-minute heroics.
Wow, I mean, that's how you want to do it. You got it.
They touched it.
Getting that. Wait, Hammond, where are you going? Oh my God!
How? Nobody's pooped off the Bastion.
No way! He killed the Bastion. They can keep doing it. They have to hold this, and Lion just doesn't care. The Hammond is such a great pick by these teams, and they're doing it again and again and again and again. And now we're looking at 2 of these just Newton balls going around in circles. Don't here trying to buy for time. Don't. C9, Golem, you're right about that, but these guys are going to have to see if they can clutch it up. It's overtime, and they cannot tie it. They have to take it. They have everything they need, but of course, there is Lion's ultimate. Beautiful minefield, and I am Noob, ain't the Noob, going straight in, damaging some more. It's up to just Ace to try to hold it, and I don't know if they're going to be able to survive with a non-stick, actually. This guy's working it. Holy, this is such a...
How are they still
battle.
going? They're back
I
on
don't
point
know.
again. Leon recovering from spawn now, trying to hunt down Orpheus on that Lucio, is eventually able to do it, but they're still two alive. The minefield coming through, and he's just eating all of the damage from the mine, swinging around, and the rest of the team doesn't have to deal with it. Sombra on 1 HP, still somehow hiding for cover and able to teleport away back to safety to help Hellpack. Gonna give so much value, and now hacking Hammond out. No access to the shield, no access to the swing. You've got to go down surely, but still just pounding down into the minefield to make sure the rest of the team has space to move around. Bongo back, looking to try and take down one of these tanks, but Gwyn wins out the fight, and that could be massive for the Swans in holding back this point. Eventually, Sato, the last alive on that soldier now to get back to the point soon, has to force away. And the Swans, after what might be one of the longest overtime contests we've seen in any 3 of the Welsh Esports League Overwatch 2 tournaments, is finally over.
And that was so close, from 0.60 to not even touching it. So Pit Ponies getting slowed down at the very end might showcase that we have a little bit of a switch in momentum. Maybe Swans is ready to bring that fight, bring the light back into this round, and hopefully bringing us to a full 5 best of 5. But it's going to take a while to actually find out if they're going to find that little bit of damage, little bit of DPS to make it work. Of course, Swans, though, I need to see what heroes they bring into the defense here. I mean, or sorry, into the attack here. So this is pretty clean, but of course, I mean, Golu, I'm looking at the dive comp. I'm looking at hopefully something a little different, and a Widow's actually might be pulled out, and that could open the door for these players.
The Widow coming in on the defense, sorry, on the attack, is an interesting one, and is one that, you know, obviously can work. But the problem is that it's not going to be able to one-shot the Bastion. And I think that's one of the reasons that you want that the Widowmaker is to be able to find that opening pick for yourself, to give yourself a massive advantage off the rip, because there's very low risk in bringing it out on the attack. You take a couple shots, if you find a pick, great, you can drop down and continue to assist the team while they push in and look for another fag. If not, you just back up, change on something else, which is exactly what they're going to be doing, probably that Mei again, and then you walk up into the engagement. I am new back on this Symmetra now, so not playing the Mei that the rest of the team might be wanting to see, but it does mean that they don't have to fear the wall. They can walk in pretty safely and know they're not going to get split in half. Now just rotating around the pillar, where do they go? They're looking to try and cross above, but the teleport behind is working out.
Yeah, and these guys are ready for it. I mean, what can they do now that they're running it in? I Am Noob grabs false, but it's about Shaz, who has to back it up. Not a whole lot of opportunities for them. Gwyn, beautiful fire strike, but their team is already falling down quite a bit thanks to this Bastion. He is just shredding through a nice little wall. It's not going to do much, but wait a minute. Attack? Using a Mei on attack? That is a bold, bold play style, as Mei might not be able to do enough damage to actually penetrate through these players.
Still, the engagement's going back and forth. Sato at the back of the point, currently protected up by the Reinhardt shield. Lions doing a little bit better as Gwyn's goes down. Now rooting into the building as well, but the Earth Shatter coming in from Lion is massive. Able to take down the lamp as well in the rotation of the swings. The Live Weaver currently preventing them from moving through, but that's able to go down, and now they can continue to push in the tree to give that support. But they're not pushing in off of the tree, so the tree able to be dealt with pretty swiftly, without much attention being drawn anywhere else. The teleport up to the high ground, chasing down the supports, as eventually they are going to get the damage tickling on through, and this timer continuing to go away. Pit Ponies doing a great job of just forcing the Swans back. They're not giving them any time on this point. There is 0% capture 2 minutes into the game. So big a difference between these two teams' approaches.
Yeah, and I don't even know if the Swans can make an approach on the Pit Ponies. Just absolute strength and domineering. But look at this. Equa has to heal their teammates up, and the Pit Ponies is ready. But that is a window into the round. But we're seeing a different approach. Red team's gonna just drop in those orbitals, and now window of their own. And that's a perfect angle, but unfortunately they're not gonna be able to touch the site to get these players off. But it doesn't matter if they get them off yet. They're still just mowing them through. I Am Noob is getting so much. Shesto getting so much, and there it is. They managed to get a single tick, which is better than before, but not nearly where they would like to be.
And now, a minute 30 left on the clock. What do the Swans pull out here? Ace close to that Blizzard, so there's a potential opportunity for them here if they can find a way to isolate Saito. The only difference, the difficulty thing you have to worry about is I Am Noob on that Symmetra still has the ability to teleport out of the Blizzard if they get caught out by a really good throw. So, good counter plays if they can keep the cooldowns available. They're approaching around the corner, using the corner to avoid the majority of the damage coming out from the opposing Bastion. But with the teleport coming in behind them now, they've just been completely caught off guard. The Reinhardt too far forward is going to get murdered through the background as they're just getting run on through. Gwyn now able to stay on point, able to get the damage out as well. Both Blizzards being used on out, so now just forcing back from the point. Sato in the back corner of the room is going to go down to Ace as well. The Lucio trying to do their best to stay on point and keep the contest going for as long as possible. But eventually, it's taken a lot longer than Swans would have liked. The point will flip over. They will unlock the payload section of King's Row.
Yeah, and now payload time. We highlighted it before. Now we're going to highlight it again with 3 minutes. You compare that to the 4 minutes 20 that we saw hefty take by Pit Ponies at the start, but maybe 3 minutes is all they need. Hell, they may even bring it all the way to the finish line here, and that's very important. Ace on this Mei, still going for the least amount of damage that you can as you're mainly trying to just back up your Bastion, and I like that kind of play style, but Gwyn and the rest of this team is now kind of just spinning.
Huge.
What a wall! Beautiful block and hammer down. That's everybody. And unfortunately, though, the Baptiste is going to save as many lives as possible. They can't capitalize on it, but this might be able to just drop the Thunder, takes out Lion down, and the TP's not enough, but the aggression from Gwyn, beautiful job. And that is what the Swans needed to do, and they are not done. They are murdering everybody, and now all they have to do is just get it all the way to this first point of the payload, and I think that they might be able to bring it all the way. This could be a game 2 in the Swans' favor.
We've had nothing but glowing positivity from Lion so far, and that's his first mistake he's made of the series. The missed position, walks into the side corridor and gets caught off so well for it by Ace with the Mabel, the quick punishment. Gwyn with a block of the Shatter into a 5-man of their own. But now they're coming back on in, and with the first pick going in favor of the Pit Ponies, this is Sato's time to really shine. Got up onto the high ground, no longer has a wall to worry about. Still the ultimate available if he really wants to go for it. Ready to go into the temporary mode. Dropping down the blast to force them back as far as possibly can to isolate the Reinhardt on the point. The Blizzard comes through though and gives Gwyn so much space to play around. Goes very down low, but the lamp comes through such perfect timing and gets him back to full HP immediately. The beat drop to keep him going, and the fight is just charging further and further in. Leon getting caught out on the engagement this time around. Again, gets back to point, but with so little healing, they can't sustain themselves and keep themselves up in the fight. This point will continue to go through eventually as soon as Sato falls to the ice shot from Ace at the back of the fight. And now they're going to keep the ball rolling. 2 minutes 36 to get around 2 more corners. Can they do it? Can they get there?
I mean, that's a bold question here, and let's see if they have some bold answers for us. You know, a 2-minute discrepancy between attack versus defense now, and I think that they might be able to secure it. They've locked it down. This may ace. The walls have isolated so many 1v5s, and now they're doing it again. The window can't do anything, but the shatter will. Beautiful stun locks these players down, and they just consistently get to make this cart move inches, meters, centimeters, everything that they need. And unfortunately, not a lot of death right now. Just there might change things. A window into the soul. Hopefully they can find some more, but Ace so good at making the space.
The pin coming through, forcing him out of the lamp as the lamp goes down as well. Leon somehow falling instead. The team pushing too far in. He's too far away from them. The Blizzard doing a great job to finally split them up even further. Orpheus and Bongo coming through to find those final picks, and they're going to have it with time to spare. There's nothing for the Pit Ponies to do. Okay, well, they get the Hammond back on the point. I take my words back. But what can he do here? Surely goes down eventually. The bubble coming through. The teleport from the Kiriko to give the protection Suzu. They're able to jump back on in. And with the Ace, the Mei coming back, dropping a Blizzard from Noob. It's doing a great job of forcing them back. But on the high ground, Faults and the beat drop coming through from the Swans once again. They had that safe the whole time, Edu. They had the ultimates in pocket to play it through. Even though the prevention comes on in, they're able to hold it back.
Yeah, I mean, Swans, that was an amazing attack. It took them a while to turn up the heat, maybe bring those just great strats together, and it really came off the back of some of these ultimates, and especially shout out to Ace here. Ace's walls gave them most of the space that they took. Every time we saw that wall get popped, they were just there. And also highlight to the supports as well from Swans. I mean, beautiful job from the Baptiste and the Lucio. They bought time, and that's probably why they got it into such a hard-fought overtime. So far, I'm excited that this is a 1-1 scoreline, and we're moving into even more rounds here. And now, moving into the next maps shortly, I'm hoping that Swans is going to keep this kind of pressure up, and maybe we can see some adaptation here from the Pit Ponies.
I don't even know what to expect coming in next from them, right? Like what comes through next, right? You've seen the Swans struggle to deal with this Bastion, coming through the Bastion of their own, incorporating picks like the Mei, which they showed off a little bit on Lijiang Tower, right? They tried to play it on Night Market. They couldn't quite get the value they wanted. They bring it back again, and Ace shows exactly what their original plan was and does it perfectly. And King's Row, you know, I said we want to come into the map picks. I want to see them pick something that really leans into the strength they want to play. Well, if you want to be playing that Mei, King's Row, you said it as we were loading in, you're going to see the Ace. You're going to see the Mei. Ace was the one to demonstrate it. We saw it from I'm Noob as well, but never quite to the same value. It wasn't quite as powerful with the walls doing exactly what they needed to, and the biggest thing for me was Ace doing a great job of using it very reactively, right? It wasn't always, I'm going to drop this wall here, and then we're going to do this play. It was, I have wall in my back pocket. The moment I need to pull it up, I can, to punish some sort of mistake, to punish some sort of overstep. And what we didn't see from the first game in Lijiang Tower was any punishment for Lion going in so deep, for diving into the backline. And this time, that was changed, and that really took away from the strength of the rest of the Pit Ponies. Sure, you still have a Bastion to deal with, but with no Reinhardt to protect it, it's a little bit more fragile.
Yeah, and these guys, they don't want to be fragile, especially when you have a tank like Lion or Gwyn on either side. I mean, this has been a pretty rough round. I mean, also shout out to the Baptiste. Those lamps were so crucial in turning the tide of a team fight and keeping specifically those players alive, like the Hammond, like the Reinhardt. And if those players fell, if the Baptiste did not put down that amazing lamp, we'd be looking at a 2-0 score line here. So Swans, beautiful job. Use your utility properly, use those abilities the way that they were designed, and perfectly putting it in sync. But Rialto, it's the next map coming up here. It's one of those maps that I think a lot of people have either positive memories or negative, so let's hope that they will be able to do a decent job, as this map is kind of unforgiving to mistakes. If you make a mistake, you lose a lot of space. So here we go. Once we get the ready from these players, we'll be jumping in. So Golu, looking at how things have been going so far, how do you feel about the season? I mean, if this is how it starts with such intense back and forth overtimes, I mean, I'm excited that this is how we're opening up season 3.
This is what we expected to see from a game between the Pit Ponies and the Swans. It's back to this already. We've seen it twice, once in season 2, once in season 3, always a banger. To see it still be the same, these two teams, the players on it who've consistently been around. There's been a couple changes here and there. They'll bring a new player in, but the cores have been the same. And so to consistently see this back and forth, I mean, the rivalry between these two teams is probably the biggest in any of the Welsh Esports leagues. Right, I'm going to go and say, I haven't seen all the leagues, but I'm telling you, like, I'm hard-pressed to think of anything. There wasn't anyone this hotly contested in R6. There wasn't anything this hotly contested in anything else I'd seen. So I'm going to go and say it. I'm going to put the Golymolu stamp of truth on this one. This is the rivalry in all of Welsh Esports League, and there's still potentially 3 more maps to split these two teams. Remember, it's a best of 5, so it's the first team to get that 3 wins. Obviously, you can have draws, potentially. So there is always that to go off as well. We do have results from our other games coming in while we're on a bit of a break. The Pirates were playing against Esports Organization, and they 3-0'd them. And Ronda Rising have also 3-0'd the Robins. Now, the Pirates and the Esports Organization are the other Group A matchup. So that is the other 2 teams in the same group as both the Pit Ponies and the Swans. So what that means for either of these 2 teams, I mean, these are the 2 teams that I'd be looking at on paper to be the 2 teams to make it out the group. Right? I think just historically, both of these teams have beat the Pirates in previous seasons. Usually they would only really lose to each other and then to the artists. So I think if we're predicting a similar trend, I think you're looking at the top 2 teams of the group. But the Pirates coming in strong on their first game is also a good indication that there could be a little bit of upset potential within Group A.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of upset here if these guys just know how to play it well. Rialto is a map, as I put it, very unforgiving with mistakes. I mean, speaking about mistakes, you can have positioning difference. You can get knocked off this map so many times, and these guys are already starting it off with a Pharah Mercy combo. It is 2023, not 2016. Let's see how it does, though, as they are up against a Diva, which hard counters that pharmacy, but doesn't matter. You're going to have to hard counter I Am Noob, and he's just going for it, just trying to find these picks, and gives a ton of space from that aerial positioning, and they already get out of the main choke point.
Rockets coming through to try and disrupt the support backline. Leon is able to punish Bongo, though, because there's so much invested by the Mercy into the Pharah that the rest of the lineup can be left somewhat spread thinly in terms of resources. Leon forced to back away a little bit to get some healing from Equa on that Ana, but that Nano building so fast for both of these squads. Falls already at 70% as Leon's diving in to try and engage back onto them. The kick from the Zenyatta able to keep them a little bit of distance. But again, this very support and steady backline can be punished as IamNoob's going to demonstrate getting right into the thick of things. With 1 HP, the Mercy able to get back on time, Edu!
That's just not supposed to happen. Not like this, not like that. I mean, the pharmacy just saved so well, but of course, Septi low on HP, and the right click from the Sojourn is going to demech them, and of course, that is going to destroy them. Pit Ponies, they have the aggression. They've taken the space for free. I don't think the cart has been stopped a single time. They are just now trying to contest right before it hits the point, and a Nano is going to be coming out, and hopefully they find the pick, but no, the sleep. But right into an ultimate like this should be able to buy the space, and no, it's still being contested. It's got slapped by the call down. And there we go. I mean, very unfortunate to lose the support by a mech coming out of the sky. And I think the attack has to back it up here. But no, they're immediately just resending it, which could be a misplay unless they... Nope, still standing. And there we go. Nerf this. Let's find out if it's going to be nerfed enough. No, not going to do it either. But somehow still standing on the point. And the contention has been going on for as long as that first overtime.
The double boop from IamNoob takes out both supports, though, so this D.Va of Septi, who's done such a good job staying alive for as long as they have, isn't going to be around for too much longer. The Widowmaker does go down now to Leon, who's given up a lot of freedom now that Septi has been dismantled to push rather far forwards, and Zenyatta potentially posing a couple shots. The D.Va's going to toy them a little bit. They get stuck on the corner of the doorway as well, and they die too, no longer for this world. So it's interesting to see the change up in the lineups, right? We're playing a lot more of these heroes who are greater at these longer lines of sight. The Zenyatas, the Annas, on both sides of Annas coming through. Now we're seeing Sato dropping that Bastion. He's on the Sojourn as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to use this now to continue to push further forwards up. If they're able to sort of, you know, make use of this additional space they're going to be bought. The Soldier coming out from the other side of things is a little bit better at dealing with this Pharah, though, and that's the purpose of it. A little bit of damage dealt onto Septi. Now taking this high ground away as well, clearing out the bridge. But no boost now for the Tracer to start making the runaround in the background.
Yeah, and these guys are running around and making an absolute break for it, but IamNoob still on that Pharah, has the ability now try to get aggressive, but the Transcendence is also available, but the attack does not seem to, or defense doesn't seem to care. But what? Lion. Maybe that was intentional.
It was intentional, I think. I think it was a tactical reset, is what I'd call it. The save the ultimate charge, you drop back off, especially as a D.Va, right? Because one of the things that you'll see teams do at the competitive Overwatch, right, is when they demech the D.Va, they will just leave that D.Va alive. D.Va's output as Baby D.Va with the Baby Blaster, it just isn't enough to actually really get a kill against anyone, right? You just stick your own D.Va right in their face, and you basically kill them the moment they remech to stall out for as much maximum time as possible. So instead, just before the mech goes away, drop yourself in the river, get back, you respawn with the rest of your team, you can have another go without wasting too much of that precious time.
Yeah, and honestly, what I like to see here is actually the switch from Bastion to Sojourn. I mean, it just got shut down, but I think, you know, Sojourn is such a hard counter to D.Va with that right click, but here we go. We are seeing a wonderful pop and a double pop to swing it back, and it won't actually connect to much outside of demeching Lion, and this time he's going to go for the exact same way to reset. So yes, it was intentional. Answered that and does it twice in a row. Both of his previous deaths have been to some water because everybody knows that D.Va can't swim. But let's see what they can do now, as it is going to be another round here. And honestly, huge amount of momentum shift towards the defense here. They've really locked down this connection.
That's what happens when you play too much StarCraft, Ed. You don't get your swimming lessons in, and what a silly mistake for D.Va to be making. But now using the sim to try and negate this high ground power, dropping right onto the Soldier, who's able to escape. The Zenyatta might not be so lucky, but the kick, doing a good job to keep them alive. The Transcendence as well to get the healing. Ace able to take down Noob as well as Bongo, who was able to use the sprint to create that separation that was oh so important. Backs away from the Reinhardt, gets to a new safe point, and can then take him down from another different height advantage. Even the attempt to come out, I love seeing that adaptation for the ponies. You bring in the symmetry, you bring in the teleporter, you recognize the high ground is the advantage that you don't have over your opponents, but it's not enough. They get through it anyway.
Yeah, and this is looking good. Attack, they're just getting pot shotted by an Ana, taken down slowly, and this Cart, it's just going to keep getting pushed all the way back here. I mean, they've lost so much of the space that they took, and I'm surprised that they actually switched off of this. But what is this? The Symmetra now trying to punish and penetrate right through these players, and actually will work pretty efficiently. Gets them all the way around the corner, and in this high ground spot, they might be able to now have that space yet again. They've taken it to push the payload a little bit further. But of course, I'm looking at an ultimate available in Shashdell. I'm looking at it available in the Symmetra. All they have to do is just find some picks here, Golu, and I don't know if that's going to be doable, but here we have the ultimates finally popping, and everybody's getting stunned. Lion's gonna get punished though. Septi, the tank, to really show up in this second or third match.
The question here is the payload isn't really getting that much progress, that much movement done throughout these fights, because there's a good effort by Swans to make sure they're always keeping someone around. There's always someone pushing in, and even in that last engagement, right, where Swans are kind of backed away from the point a little bit, trying to deal with protecting the Zenyatta and a backline, there wasn't much effort from the Pit Ponies to make sure they're keeping someone on the point. They're very invested in making sure they are able to tap to force that overtime now, though, as well. The Sojourn ult potentially could be massive if they can land the right shots.
Let's see it. Of course, being massive, these guys are coming up big. Just find this, but the movement div, Anna just deciding, I don't care. I will just keep walking around you and running circles. Is already overtime. Golu, it's just up to this Anna to try to get onto the point, but unfortunately, there isn't much they can do. And wait, they juke the ultimate and they take out Septi. Lion might have just brought life back into this if they just get an additional 10 meters. They have another chance at victory here, and that's what we want to see from the Pit Ponies.
Well, no one's coming through the breach to try and recontest. I say that as Ace flies overhead on the Tracer. Orpheus does go down. The Wrecking Ball coming through, able to pound on down, made purple by the Ana, but Foles finds Bron in the background, which takes away the support from the Lucio. Sato now moving on to the Reaper, just trying to get involved, trying to get maximum damage dealt into the mechanical chassis of the Wrecking Ball. The healing coming through from Ace is not quite, from Foles is not quite enough. It does go down. Sato now playing behind the back of the just a point, just dancing around. The Transcendence comes through. That's going to keep Ace able to stay alive in the fight. The nade coming in from False in the background as well, and that Transcendence is exactly what they needed. I am Noob recalling back, but has to blink back onto the point once again if they want to have any hope of contesting. Dealt swiftly with a double punch by the support duo. Equa able to get a nice little headshot onto Ace, but isn't able to keep the contest on the point alive. Dealt with pretty swiftly afterwards, Edu. And so, despite a good little bit of last-minute heroics from the Pit Ponies, not able to get that point as far as they would like to have.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. I mean, I really thought that they were going to bring it all the way, but they didn't really bring it far enough. I think in this moment, on a map like Rialto, that is a position that most of the time, this map goes to point number 3, where you just do the final push into the Cathedral. So the fact that it is only here is a detriment, not a reward. So I think Swans might be able to reverse sweep this from the very aggressive start we saw on Lijiang Tower. But Golu, I also want to see what kind of team comp they're bringing. Defense is actually rocking the new support, so let's actually see how it does in a competitive setting, in a pretty high ranked settings, of course representing all of Wales. Let's see if they can represent with some great gameplay.
I'm excited. I think there's less risk again. Like, I talked about this with the Widowmaker, and it's the same for just attacking in general. The only game that doesn't really have this concept is obviously Capture Point, because it's control. It's the same thing for both teams. But here, the Illaria, you can rock it out early if you're not really getting that sort of impact from it. If you find like, oh, you know what, we're not really getting the work done with this hero, let's change it off onto something a little bit more standard. Let's bring that Zenyatta back to make use of the long-range engagements or something like that. You can do that. The interesting thing for me is Bron on this Brigitte instead. Brigitte not quite the one-man army that she was when she first came out, way back when. But still a decent threat if you jump too deeply in. And they do have Ace on this Tracer. Brigitte doesn't have the stun, but it's still very much a lethal threat at dealing with that issue. Orpheus' healing sentry already going down. They are trying to play this long-range engagement. 1 HP left on that Widowmaker. The nerf coming through and just showing how much impact that is. That would have been a dead player, but still alive, still given that second lifeline.
Yeah, and these guys have all of the lifelines to make it cook, make it work, and these guys might be able to do it again. But, of course, Lion still buying the space. They're extra aggressive on the defense here. Eco takes out Ace, and I Am Noob just trying to do some more damage, but unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be able to penetrate through. This Widow is just taking pot shots, taking down Septi, but unfortunately, the healing is just too strong. But both teams have a Widow, so we might see a battle of the ages here. The snipers are trying to just get a pick on each other. Bongo will be able to walk away, but Lion is still just making so much, and Bongo will win it out for the attacker-sided Widow, and that could just be the domino that starts this full-on cycle here.
Still so much going on for the side of the defense on that high ground. They're getting ready to drop down, waiting for the reinforcements to come flooding back on through. And Sato, from this back position across the bridge, is able to have a decent amount of impact on this payload as it turns around the corner. The purple coming through onto Septi to try and force them back. But now that it's gone, the healing sentry dropped by Alari, doing a great job to just give that continuous support to the point. Septi able to take down Noob as well with the defense. Bomb coming through has one of their own, which they can drop as they take down the healing sentry once again, so really prioritizing taking away Alari's healing abilities.
Wow. And Alari can't really do much in this position, but defense, they're trying desperately to get these players off of the bomb, or off the payload. 2 minutes, and they just keep booping them, and now they're booped all the way off, and what is this? The baby D.Va able to just do as much damage as they can to that turret, but having the ability to survive is different than being alive. And yeah, purpled, no ability to clutch it up unless we actually see the little D.Va pistol get a pick on a false, and he's healed. He's got the mech back. Oh my god, Lion! This is a baby D.Va that ain't no baby, ain't able to end this round quite yet, and they are holding it. But there we go, another D.Va ultimate. How many times are we gonna have to see these go in one moment? Golu, this is just some insane back and forth, and honestly, I think defense might be able to push them all the way off unless we can see some insane comebacks here.
You're waiting for the reinforcements. The soldier getting chased down now. Noob is able to take down Orpheus. That's a good start for them as well. Doesn't grab the health pack. Instead, waits for the healing from their supportive line, but does get killed as a result of that little bit of greed meleeed out by the Tracer. So, unfortunate, but... Oh, nice little purple nade to try and get down. A good hold coming in from the defense. And again, it was a big part of that was just being able to play this long line of sight. Noob and Sato just coming back a lot quicker with the change to the Soldier Tracer as well. And the shorter, closer spawn point. Running back up. Oh, beautiful eat by Septi to keep the support alive. That pulse one was a sure thing had it hitted. And now just dropping back down on, trying to recontest.
Yeah, but they're on the opposite side. But look at this. They're isolating this poor soldier, and he can't get out. Noob in a noobish position, but luckily you still have Lion on the D.Va trying to stay alive. But this time they have to go for another minute-long contest. 30 seconds on the clock, and they're going to pop an ultimate. But this time they're not letting Lion survive. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm pulling your leg. They D-mech Septi with the mech call down. Beautiful job. And now we only got 15 seconds, but Lion's D-mech again. Finally punished there, and they don't care because if Lion falls, another one comes back up. Saji just going for it, and Sato can try again and again and again, but that time punished, and with 3 seconds remaining, they secure it. They are able to get it with less, but right before overtime, and that's what you need to be doing. Oh, this is such a close game.
I thought it might have been over when Bongo goes down. He pops the tactical visor, immediately hit with the rocket missiles from Noob on the opposing side of the engagement, and I was ready to write it off. With Septi demeched, but he's able to live long enough, build up that ultimate charge to get it back again. And now he's trying to contest for this high ground once again. Both these teams recognizing the importance of having that high ground, especially on compositions like the Soldier, where you really want to be able to drop that rocket missile down, get that maximum splash impact, but also just diminish your hitbox. If you've seen Star Wars, you know exactly why you want that high ground. You don't want to get your legs cut away from underneath you. And now Septi dropping down to keep moving this payload, because that's the most important thing. Because payload, then high ground, jumping back on up to enter the fray, watching the enemy D.Va drop one down and chasing them back as far as possible to keep this payload rolling.
Let's see it though. Up high. Unfortunately, the only thing high right now is the KD in the hands of Lions. This guy is going, but what is this? The Nanoswarm's going to be able to just shred right through them, and Bongo's trying their best. Actually takes out the defense Tracer, and even with the Nano, we are going to see Septi eventually get demeched here and just clean it up, but Noob not able to connect. We need to see one of those visors soon, as this is inches away from taking game 2 for the hands of Swans, but Ace is not done. Ace is just shredding through, might be able to find it, but no stick for you, and unfortunately, you're now stuck in a place to reposition and reset. Going straight for the water, they're going for a swim, and right here, we're having now 56 seconds to make this work.
Still 50 seconds, still plenty of time for this attack. 60% towards attack visor as well for Bongo. False now jumping onto the Kiriko, and this makes sense. Kiriko, a hero who's a little bit better at staying alive and just pumping mass heals into teammates while running around and being hard to kill on the point, which is exactly what you need when it comes to that overtime contest. Already low on that soldier and forcing the healing nade to come out from Equa already. The nade, the bomb from Septi finds Bron 2.
Wow. That's how you want to be using your nades, but let's see if these guys have it. Oh my, well, God, this is so crazy. This is cooking. And oh no, nerf this. It's coming straight on down, but no one connects to it. Lion can't
False, you're a beast.
What is that shot? If they don't have Lion, they don't have the round. It's just up to the Tracer to try to make it work, and they're just inching their way into Doomsday. Swans, they will be taking this in overtime, but wait, no. Oh, there's a Doomfist.
Oh,
Lion.
Goes down on the Doomfist. The Reaper back on point goes down soon as well. The attack visor coming through just to ensure that no one else can get back. No one else can touch the point, and they will win out map number 2. The Swans take map number 3, sorry, I should say, put themselves 2-1 up in the bracket and put themselves 1 map away now, Edu, from taking our first series of the season between the two teams. I am Noob on the Pharah, going to get to play the game. We all, well, you know, Pharah play the game's always a little bit fun to see. Oh, it's a rocket barrage as well. Oh, it's this one. That was beautiful. That came at a really important moment as well. That bump back, knocking both the supports off, really made this fight on the final edge to push over the line to capture that first point. Just so much harder for the defense to hold, right? Because you lose both your supports. And on Zenyatta, you're losing a decent chunk of damage as well. The Discord Orb going on a Diva is one of the best ways to burst down that tank, especially with, you know, you got one tank, just kill them quickly with the Discord. Losing that Zenyatta, obviously, not going to help. Doesn't help.
Yeah, Zenyatta, he changes the game when it comes to how much damage he brings. And of course, we actually saw Zenyatta for a while have a Transcendence, but it never really came through that often. And Transcendence is one of those, like, ways to turn it around. But ever since Baptiste came out, I mean, just pop a lamp. You know, it does the same thing. But, you know, looking at this team, Swans, they showed up in game 1 a little bit rusty, but this time they've knocked all the rust off and they're looking beautifully shiny. They want to keep this pristine gameplay into the potential final map. They have the match point advantage now. 2-1 is the score line in the favor of Swans. So looking at the next map, I believe it is going to be a push map here with the robot. So I'm hoping that we can see a brawl comp. I want to see just back and forth non-stop fighting like we saw in that second map or third map there. The Divas, you got to shout out Lion for just buying so much time using any coupon code that he could. So I'm pretty happy with this gameplay so far. I wanted to get to a map 5. I want to be able to watch these guys perform with the highest amount on the line with double match point advantage, but I don't know. What are your predictions moving into our next map here?
I think Swans are going to take it. I think they've got the ball rolling. They've kind of found their groove. And I think especially in these overtimes, they just find ways to make these fights work. And it's just individual players stepping up so frequently. We've seen Ace, False. We've seen Orpheus come through a couple times, booping off the Bastion off the map, albeit on the Zenyatta coming through, the big kick to knock the Reinhardt away when they really need to. Like, there's just been too many moments here where I think there's one small thing that goes slightly differently and Pit Ponies can run it through, and consistently we've seen Swans able to have one player make the difference. Leon throws out his ult, throws out the bomb, remeching, False finds a way to get the kill. Just finds a way to get that kill, cut it down, you remove the tank from play. Realistically, a Tracer isn't going to be able to stall for as long as you really need them to be able to get the rest of the team back alive. That's the job of that Diva there. You have the defense matrix, you have so much health, you can do it. Just brilliantly, consistently coming in from the Swans, and they're adjusting very well. And I think for me, that's just the biggest thing. Just the adjustments coming through, the changes they're bringing. They're forcing the Pit Ponies to make changes that they may not necessarily want to be taking. They forced them off the Pharah.
Yeah, it's just being able to counterpick is 100% what Overwatch is about. You have to be versatile in like 8 to 9 different characters in your role. And that's what we saw. We saw May pull up sometimes. We saw Hammonds pull up. At the very end, they tried bringing out a Doomfist. I mean, maybe not as versatile on that character as it was immediately shut down. But still, you need to have a lot in your arsenal of heroes to select from. So now we're going to be jumping into New Queen Street on the map push, or on the game mode push. So this is going to be quite intense. We got to see which robot's going to find their way to the exit first, or maybe not at all. 10 minutes decides whether or not this game goes in the favor of Swans and the match goes in the favor of Swans, or we're just not going to be seeing much here. So Golu, I'm excited that it is going to be this new Overwatch 2 game mode. You know, some people don't like it. I think New Queen Street is one of the least bad maps of this. I mean, it's not Coliseum, that's for sure.
I actually quite like Coliseum. I think that might be my favorite of the actually no, that's a lie. The my favorite is the other one. I forget the name of it.
So good, you love it so much that it's very forgettable.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name. The one that's like the harbor, and it's pretty cool, and it's got the big tower in the middle, and you walk the robot up and down the street. For some reason, the name's really escaping me. I feel like I can name every other map other than that one. Anyway, that's my favorite of the push maps. I think New Queen Street is interesting. The biggest difficulty in pushing New Queen Street is I feel like of all three, it's probably the most swingy. I think if you can get an early advantage here on New Queen Street, it's the best out of all of them to do so. And so coming out, what these opening team fights look like is going to be very interesting to see. Sato immediately back onto that Bastion and getting the first pick onto the Soldier. The Mei Wall coming through to try and buy them some time, but it's not really enough as the Mei Wall of their own is able to cut Gwyn away from the rest of the squadron. And yes, Orpheus is able to get the boot to finish off Sato, but I don't think it's really going to be enough. Firm control over the point now in the hands of the Pit Ponies, and they're going to get this payload rolling. I should say the robot rolling.
Yeah, they got to get them rolling out. Well, Autobots roll out. Let's see if this Transformer is going to be able to transform where these guys stand at the end of this game. But, of course, with the bars aside, let's talk a little bit about how these guys need to make it work. Because the map you were talking about, Golo, I looked it up, it's Esperanza. And I can understand that. There we go, though. Gwyn grabs the... Wait, Gwyn just bunny hopping right into him. You could finish all of them. Oh, but the counter! Beautiful read from Reinhardt to Reinhardt, and Lion now able to try to make something work, but False just flying through the sky. Unfortunately, might die, but just kidding. Ace and False are putting these players down over and over, and Pit Ponies, they're kind of taking a back seat here after they got a little bit of a lead. It immediately switches back, so a brawl comp is what we're going to be feeling today.
Yeah, I think this makes sense, right? I mean, the Bastion still fits into that brawl comp, but being able to be caught out so quickly, the Reaper will be a little bit weaker than the Bastion. I think Reaper's kind of not in an amazing place right now, but is going to be able to give that more sort of consistent survivability that will keep the point contested. And with both reaching an even point, whoever wins this fight now takes good control over the outcome of this map so far. The swing round to the right, the window coming through early on, and the hammer does go down, but is blocked on out. I am noob hit, but will be back up again to drop the wall, but it doesn't matter. The window is so much more effective, and Bongo standing behind it, just able to cut away at the Pit Ponies. So now the Swans keep that movement, keep that rolling. They're going to get that second point as well, which will give them a shorter spawn. So even if they lose a fight, they'll be back so much quicker to recontest. Wow. And now we just have to wait to see what the movement is. There is that high ground to worry about, and especially when you're looking at things like Equa on that Baptiste, they want to make use of it. But there's no soldier to worry about. There's no DPS that's going to be using that range.
Yeah, but right now I'm looking at the Shatter plus combo. I mean, beautiful wall from I Am Noob. Just completely secures this down. False having to maybe try to get some kind of saves going. And wow, talking about the saves from the Baptiste, it's actually going to happen from Equa. There we go. It is a little bit of a comeback here right after the first point gets taken. But will they take it all the way to their side of the map? I mean, still, Swans in that advantage, but the Mays are doing an amazing job with these walls. I think it has to be pointed out how critical isolating players are, and it's just doing it every time.
Yeah, it's been pretty solid from both these teams. Both Noob and Ace have been tremendous on it, and you can see that's why they're leaning into it still and why it's been a mainstay in both these rosters. The Icicle used up from Noob, so potential window of vulnerability as they're walking up to the site now. Got to be careful with the shatter coming out from Lion as the beat drop coming through to give that support. The wall dropping Bongo off from behind, now being chased away by the Mei. Sato is able to move away as well, but you'd think with both DPSs off chasing on a little side quest, more be able to be done around the main point, but no. Able to keep themselves alive for a pretty decent amount of time. A wall coming through at the end to keep Gwyn from retreating back with Ace, and that's going to be a pretty comfortable fight win for the side of the Pit Ponies who keep this objective rolling. They now get that short spawn. They finally actually secure it, more importantly, as we saw a little bit of slowdown after this point. The robot needs a little bit of a break, and this is the opportunity for them to push on in.
Yeah, and now we're seeing a little bit of return to sender. They're able to just put it down, and Orpheus boops one to death, but with the Reaper now being able to walk away, they do re-secure this. So we could tell that both of these teams are kind of just taking a note after each other, but unfortunately for them, it's about who started it that might be taking it, and Swans is here for it. But where is this Ryan going? Gwyn all alone will get shut down, but luckily Equa is traded out for it. So a 1-for-1, but let's see if these guys aren't done. Needs to now just keep this, and they are already back. I mean, I love the fact that it walks a lot faster once you've secured one. But what? A wall completely shuts down the Shatter, and they are not done. They're decimating it. Ace, do it again. You know how to play May. And this is maybe where we're going to be seeing a wonderful another isolated pick. And I believe that is one tick away, but they're trying. They're trying. Oh, what a miss Shatter. Oh, unfortunate.
It's hard coming off the heroics from Ace as well, filling the tanking role, able to take down the opposing tank as well. Now it's the front of a way to try and deal with Sato, and this Reaper is going to block up to keep themselves alive, get that health coming back on through, and now going to add in the tactical crouches just to keep on rolling. Trap been hidden, and now we're able to use the wall again, keep themselves alive, very low on HP here. We're waiting for the support line to come back, but I am Noob getting that sound barrier, just able to walk and steam on by. I mean, interesting use of the barrier to come through, I think, but they guaranteed the point.
Yeah, and if that point's guaranteed, then these guys might be able to guarantee both. But look at how close the game is. 57.18 versus 58.32. These guys are as close as you could possibly be in this map. So hopefully we can see them now try to get that single meter over and get the Pit Ponies into map 5. But Swans is not done. But with 4 minutes on the clock, you're gonna have to make things work a little quicker than now. Wait, Ace, he's just doing what Ace does. He's going straight for the supports.
Oh, dropping in the icicle to survive through the Death Blossom, but it's not going to be enough as Sato just walks through the rest of the team. And again, we're seeing just Pit Ponies coming in, better ultimate usage of the ultimates here, better timings. And I think it all kind of fell apart after Gwyn got caught out, pushing so far in towards Pit Pony spawn, because since then, they haven't really been able to set up for a comfortable engagement. And every fight since has had either I Am Noob dropping a Blizzard and cutting them apart, or in that last one, Sato with the Death Blossom, and now Noob very close to another Blizzard. Lion has the Shatter as well. They've got to be very careful about how they choose to engage for this next fight.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have the engagements that they need, but I'm looking, of course, at Ace just running right into that Lion. Can't do much besides charge, and charge he will. Grabs Bongo. Orpheus is down, and Pit Ponies, they want this. I Am Noob proving that he is also a clean player, but look at that aggression. A little bit too aggressive, but will not find the pick, will be able to get out anyways. And they just have so much space to work with, and they are taking double the score line right now from 57 to 110. Might even make it 114, but no, they now have to make it work. And oh, the walls just consistently keep these players out, and the Shatter, that's everybody. Pit Ponies, they're clean with it, and with the mirror as well. And Gwyn cannot land a Shatter today. It's just not working for them against Lions, and I think this could be it here, Golo.
Well, they got the freeze on Leon, but there's not really enough coming through to punish it. So he's able to just stay alive and keep charging on through. Gwyn getting swatted away like a fly. The beat drop coming through to keep him alive as he's walking onto the point, but it's still not enough. Just so much burst damage coming through. The Bastion do their best to take down the Lamp, but can't find any kills as a result of it. The Death Blossom finally able to deal with a Lamp of their own, follow up with a quick kill onto Bongo with a follow-up from I Am Noob on that May, and now the point just rolls on in. Orpheus can't jump on in time to stop the Pit Ponies from taking map number 4 and tying us up. It's 2 maps apiece, so it's going to be 1 more map of control to split the difference between these 2 teams. I mean, hey, look, we've had a barn burner for the first one, right? All 5 maps, you couldn't have asked for anything more.
Yeah, you really couldn't have, but these guys are able to get play of the game as well with a wonderful Death Blossom. I mean, this, as fun it was to watch, it kind of sealed their fate there. So looking at this now, map 5. We're looking at a hybrid map. We're looking at somebody being able to finish out this. No matter what, someone walks away a winner here. There is no chance of failure if you want to get your point in this round robin, in the group stage anyways. So, you know, you actually called that you were thinking Swans was going to take that, but Pit Ponies,
I did, yeah.
They gave the same energy that happened in map 1. So I like what we're seeing, and this has been an incredibly close match. And historically here at the Welsh seasons, we actually haven't seen it be this close in a long time. I think season 1 was the last time in an Overwatch one did we actually see it get to 5 in a best of 5. So hopefully we can see them bring that pain, bring the heat to this final map. But so far, I'm loving what we're seeing from Season 3.
Yeah, I think the first time these two teams played against each other, it was a 3-2 in favor of Swans. And it will be interesting to see. I think Septi will be coming back in. Swans, one of the teams that is essentially still running a 6-man roster. So they have both Gwyn and Septi as tank players, and they'll swap them in and out according to the game mode. I think Septi will come back in for control, plays control usually for them. So what does that mean for them? Well, the win rate is about 50-50 with both of these tank players, right? Because they lost the first time they played control, and Gwyn just lost there. So both these tank players, you know, pretty active, and it does add some interesting depth for them. I think they both have very different... I mean, they can both play all the tanks. You see Septi leaning more towards sort of things like the Divas. He was the one to bring out the Ramatra as well. So what does that mean for them? I'm not sure. What does that mean for control? Well, it depends on what map it is. I think that's going to be the interesting thing for them, and Swans do get the choice of it.
Yeah, it looks like they actually picked up Oasis here, so that, you know, just King of the Hill style map. And Oasis is one of those that I think can really bring the heat in here. It's a brawl, 100%. It's not like a payload where you have to worry about, or a payload or a push where you have to worry about a specific spot, really, or around a specific spot. It's open air. So it's going to be coming down to the aim. It's going to be coming down to the hit scans, you know. On a map like Oasis, I think we should be seeing that Reinhardt yet again. Maybe even a Doomfist, I think, is solid on this map. So you got to have that aerial effect. So we saw the Doomfist get picked up for half a second. If they bring a Doomfist and it pops off, I mean, they can level skyscrapers and level this into a 3-2. So
also potential for a Pharmacy to come back again. We saw that coming in from Noob, right? He's willing to play the Pharah. He has that sort of flexibility and the projectile heroes on the DPS lineup that you can play. So Oasis, a lot of high skyboxes, a lot of open areas. I'm thinking particularly about city center, but more importantly on gardens. I think that's when we see that Pharah come in quite a bit. You've also got the right next to the point on gardens, you've got the pool. Right, you got that giant open ocean. If you can fly over that, it's very hard for a lot of heroes to find a way to bridge that gap outside of the hit scan specialists that sort of deal with the Pharah. So there is opportunities to force out the lineup from the Swans into very specific heroes, things like the Soldier coming back out again for Bongo. Is that going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah, and well, let's see if it is going to happen as we are coming to a beautiful Oasis. You got water, you got greenery, but now we're going to have to see if anybody here is worthy of taking away the green. I think that
Torbjorn based.
Sorry, what?
Torbjorn? There's a Torbjorn?
Oh, Torbjorn. Okay.
Sorry, please keep going.
I wasn't able to understand what you were saying. I mean, it just sounded like something different. But okay, Torbjorn, yeah, it's kind of what you would expect from a King of the Hill. You need to have either a Tor or a Symmetra, somebody that has buildings to make it work out. And that's why we're also going to be seeing an Ace on I Am Noob, or an Ace, a May on I Am Noob here. But what a wall! Just stop Septi from being able to slam. And luckily, Septi will be able to get out of there. But we are seeing the Hammond. We are going to be seeing the Reinhardt, and that Torbjorn, he's overloaded and he is just cooking right now, overdosing on fun times, just rocking his way through. In the Reinhardt, Lion, we saw what he can do with it. Just holds W, left click. It's what you got to do on a map like this and with a character like that.
Run, Ace, run! Can't run fast enough. I'm going to be able to hunt him down, and despite the fact that, you know, Swans were able to cap that first point. So, yes, Septi got walled off, couldn't get that proper engage into the Pit Ponies because they'd gone for the stairs route to try and get onto that high ground. It gave a little bit of time over to the Swans to cap that point and get a little bit of progress. They will quickly be caught up by the Pit Ponies now, who are approaching that 17% and will need more than one fight to break through it. But now with the Torbjorn boosted up on the high ground, Orpheus trying to do some damage to boot them away. A big engage from Septi to knock everyone up into the air. Bongo given a lot of space, a lot of freedom to take these longer range engagements, but can't quite get enough damage down range. Able to get a knockdown onto the Torbjorn, who is going to have to go very low. Will finally be finished off by Ace on that Echo, as Bongo finds a second pick onto Equa as well. Is that going to be enough for them to push on through? No, because they're getting cut away despite that. The turret does go down, but Leon and Noob just putting in the work, putting in the damage as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work being put in, but now I'm looking at just the scoreline. 17 points is not a lot of time to actually have had the site. So I think this is Pit Ponies' map. I mean, they did it once on Lijiang Tower, and in this game mode, it's just what they are comfortable with. I mean, it was a dominating first game, but maybe it's not going to be as domineering as they are running it through. Septi will take out the Baptiste. Ace will grab the turret and might be able to grab some more, but unfortunately the sleep dart's just a bit too strong. Septi has to make it work as well, but Septi's kind of stuck alone. Ace doesn't care, still cooking up one, and with an ultimate like that, it isn't enough. An attack is just cooking right here, and Pit Ponies gets to 80%. No way, they can keep going. Yet finally we're seeing it get taken over, but that took a little bit too long. And wait, where are you going, Braun? What are you? You're not gonna cap that.
Bron versus the world, and Bron won. Yeah, again, I mean, Ace using up the ult, false, nanoing them as they swap onto the Reinhardt as well. Nice try. Did get booped off by Bron, so a nice little bit of ultimate percentage over towards that beat drop coming through. Sato still has the Molten Core available, but again, Ace, that one-shot potential coming in from the Echo, nearly finding a second kill as well, able to finish off the turret. Just again, trying to slow down as much as possible here. Playing off on the sidelines with Septi. So a very fast and mobile comp from the Swans. Finally being able to play into that advantage. That they control the point. They're not forced to just walk into the same thing.
Yeah, and let's see if they are going to be forced to maybe make some kind of clean motions here. But I like what we're seeing with this. Lion from above just has to maybe touch the point a bit, but there we go. The beat down is going to break down one. Septi, though, is just getting them all. And Torbjorn popped their ultimate as well. Ace cannot get away from this Torb, and it's just up to Lion here. And he's taking a little nap on site as his team gets washed, but just kidding. Maybe washing up and cleaning up here. And wait, Lion was able to get all the way out. Might be switching from the Rhine to something different. And yeah, it's back on D.Va.
We need something quick here, especially at 93% point capture for the Swans now to get back in, and that's what you're looking. They're waiting for that 99% to force the last second engage. The teleporter coming in from Symmetra, but an immediate purple. The lamp from Ek was massive in keeping them alive as it goes down. Ace able to finish off I Am Noob. Septi getting right up in the face of Ek to prevent the healing coming through. Leon punished and knocked down to the side because of this separation. A tactical visor is massive from Bongo, who's been able to hold onto that high ground because Noob teleports up, immediately knocked back away by Orpheus, so he has nothing to contest onto Bongo. Really nice play from the Swans. Great control over the point in that last team fight to make sure that they get the first point capture. It's the first time they've had a lead. It's the first time they had a point on control. Can they use this to push over the finish line? Can they take it away here 2-0 on Oasis? Or are we going to need University to split the difference between these two teams in map number 1 of the season?
Yeah, I mean, this could be just one of the more contested maps. Obviously, I think both teams are very much warmed up to how the other starts to play it, and they kind of adapted to the play style of them, especially Lions play style. I think they know how to punish their over-aggression, in my opinion, but now that over-aggression is going to be a lot harder to punish, as Junker Queen is probably one of the most sustainable tanks if you can find the DPS and really rock it through. So with all the bleed that they do, let's see if they're not going to be bleeding today. And they already take high ground so quick.
Junker Queen coming in is going to be very interesting with the ability of this dagger to try and pull players out of positions for the Swans if they can capitalize. But Orpheus coming in now on the Brigitte gives them a lot more staying power on the point. And with it being a little bit more open and playing directly into the Junker Queen, that matchup will be very interesting to see. But well, Septi already able to get the opening pick, and Bongo using those missiles to finish off Leon to make sure they get the tank going down. Orpheus overcommitting, but Ace making sure that it's not in vain as the rest of the team is swept up very, very quickly by this DPS duo. And now, point control, Ace lurking off to the side, waiting for the next engagement. Orpheus, do they stick on the Brigitte? They do. So coming back once again, and this is for the peeling ability, the ability to make sure this Junker Queen cannot stay on false, cannot stay on Bongo. Those two heroes, especially on high ground, so powerful.
Yeah, and what we're seeing so far from False is just being able to be that DPS healer. I mean, the Ana, the Baptiste, they get so many more kills than most players on this team. So let's see what they can do now. Septi kind of being forced into a bit of a brawl. Will unfortunately have to bail, but that is a perfect purple. Everybody cannot do much, but of course, we're seeing Lion grab Orpheus. We're seeing Braun grab Bongo. We're seeing these players fall down, and False can't do much. Unfortunately, Equa is going to be the better DPS at the end of the day, and Lion just has to find that one player, Ace, who's just buying time, taking a ton of ticks for their team. But it's now 46-0, and now we're seeing the switch in the hands of Pit Ponies.
Yeah, and a nice little follow through as well from the rest of the lineup. What do you do here? What do you go for as well? They're looking to line up on the sidelines, pushing off a little bit to the left, trying to come around, but again, Reaper playing a good little scouting game here, is able to keep them at bay. Ace looking on the back, has the pulse bomb potential as well. Force a recall.
Yeah, and if you force that out, that should be all right for you, but I'm looking at Ace, who's still trying to just take some pots. Of course, Septi, he's got to get the high ground and says, hi, Baptiste, you're not going to be walking away for much, but the purple comes through. Of course, they do have the minefield. It doesn't even matter. Lions is just beating them down right now, and how is the Tracer standing? I mean, the power of the relocate, but Lion doesn't care. Takes out the other support as well. And I think this is Pit Ponies taking number 2 with pride. They really are in their element with the Reaper, with, of course, Lion. And it's just Shotgun's doing so much. I think Septi has an opportunity here. You have to pick and make a decision soon. Do you stay on the Hammond?
Genji coming through. There's a bold call from Swans here. Ace shown proficiency on Genji primarily in Season 1 when that hero was still deemed to be, was still the meta pick, got nerfed away, no longer quite as strong as it was in its heyday. How do you come in? How do you deal with this? Well, first of all, you're taking a hell of a lot of damage to get pulled back on in. The recall of the dagger going to be the final blow as Noob following through onto the Lucio as well. Bongo dragged back towards this Junker Queen who's running a field day through this Swans lineup. They just can't find a way to push Lion off of his pick here. Just chasing him back to spawn. Chasing him back.
Yeah, running it down, chasing him back, throwing them off the site, and with only 8 seconds remaining, they have to touch. So Septi, you've stuck on the Hammond for a long time. We'll see if it actually is going to pay off as they touch the site, and finally, we're seeing the minefield now just take over the little piece of gap, and they cap it. Beautiful job. They ain't done yet. Swans, they just want to end it here with the triple kill from Bongo, but Sato. Oh my god.
Cassidy's going ham on point, able to get both the DPS down. Orpheus is low as well, but able to finish him off before things get a little bit too hairy.
This guy.
Junk Queen forced back away, is able to live thanks to a lamp being thrown out by EQ, but okay, point captured, able to reset. They need to get back though, because it's Junk Queen ready to re-engage.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that re-engagement might be good enough to get them on, because all they have to do is get 1 tick now, and you know, it sounds a lot easier than it actually is to accomplish. But I see the Deadeye, I see the High Noon ready to try to maybe get something here. Ace, you highlighted him. Unfortunately, he's gonna get just taken out so fast, but I gotta highlight this hit scan, just cleaning house with these DPS in tow. And I think this is going to be the map number 2 in match number 5, ending quick unless they can just find Orpheus. Oof.
Oh, and it's the Deadeye to find the final blow. No one able to get back to the point quick enough to stop the secure coming through. So not only have we gone the full 5 maps, we're going to the last point of the last possible map, Edu. It's going to be the University to split things off. Who's coming in more prepared for this? Well, after the first point, I said, you know what, Swan's looking pretty cozy. But now this Junker Queen, it's sent them for a spin, and Septi moving on to this Orisa could be a brilliant response if they're able to use the tools in both the Javelin spin and the Javelin throw to keep this Junker Queen off the back line. It will really help them in having that staying power on point, but if they let Leon run amok once again, then I think Pit Ponies are going to find themselves taking the first points of the season.
Yeah, Pit Ponies could be opening it up pretty strong. And of course, if we're talking about who's taking some points here, we did see that the Pirates has already performed pretty well. We've seen that some players are making a mark early on in today. This is actually the longest match that we've had today so far, getting all the way to 5. The rest were just 3-0s. So I like the competition that we get to watch on stream with this one, as that hasn't really happened across the board.
difference in between the two positionings for the teams. One going for the low ground, seeping into the box, the other trying to take the high, and now looking to see what happens with this Orisa taking the forefront. The wall comes through from Ace, but immediately cut away as they lose the first member on that Mei, and now forced out to move back onto the point to contest it, are able to sort of get some immediate progress on it, but it's contested before they can cap, and now the Orisa, isolated and alone, will be cut on down by Leon, who's going to continue to run through the Swans. And it looks like this point should comfortably go over to the Pit Ponies.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty comfortable for these guys, just grabbing it with a decent amount of ultimate charge already building up. Everybody's about 50% there. Equal especially has that window at 65. So this is looking all right, but Lion just taking this damage, just constantly harassing. And I'm hoping that harassment's going to pay off in getting one of your early ultimates, because that could completely turn the tide of a team fight, just making it so people can't heal, and there's so much bleeding going on. So here we go. There it is. Of course, Bongo rocking a Bastion, which I think completely shuts down these players, and it just is. Everybody can't really do much, and we're already seeing a very quick retake.
Oh, and the wall from Ace, once again, spectacular to make sure they finish off quickly. Split up the team, take down Leon, and now you can run amok. And again, Ace on this Mei doing wonders. Just making sure that the bullets are not getting jammed. You know, make sure the turret's fully functional on the corpse of Bron there. The ultimates in favor of the Pit Ponies here, who, you know, it's pretty close to the point, 21%. The question is, what's the engagement going to look like here? If they can get this Junk Queen ultimate going on down, if they can hit the purples, could be massive.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hit that little bit of just completely shut down them, but false. Diffing with a different hit scan, but look at this. Orisa popping an ultimate will do a ton of damage, but also survive a lot. Septi down, just holding it down. This Orisa has been a crucial pick to just get them the space that they need. The stuns are coming through, and unfortunately, Lion just doesn't really get impacted yet. Now they have to focus on him. And I love how they're just ignoring Lion, knowing that the Junker Queen thrives off of getting a lot of people to target them, but they are just kind of ignoring them because no shield, no problems. They get a target, but you might not want to do that as Lion's punishing for that, and they're just mowing people down. A double kill for them, and I think they will reclaim the site. Yes.
Still, you could be happy with the progress coming in from the Swans here now, as they're up to 68%. That's basically one cap, one fight to secure the win here in this series, but you got to make a move on. Pits very happy to just let this percentage roll up for themselves as well. The Deadeye, so for Sato here, it's going to be out finding a way to get off on a slightly awkward angle. The window being invested immediately to lead the charge through. The Orisa able to do that and just charge on in, eat all the damage from Leon with the Javelin spin, and use it once again. It's off cooldown so quickly to keep this engaging Reaper off of the Bastion. That let them just walk through the site so comfortably. Bron, got to avoid the spear here, mate. Got to avoid the spear. But it's Ace with the Icicle to finish off the blow, and they capture the point so quickly back once again after losing it. And again, it's all off the Septi playing so well around protecting Bongo.
Wow, I mean, they're protecting them, and they are just locking it in. But of course, with the bomb now ticking down, it looks like Dominus wants to play some custom lobbies. But let's not worry about that. Let's worry about Septi just mowing him through. Might be able to throw him off the map with the spear, but unfortunately, it's not going to connect. And bye-bye to the Reaper. And unfortunately, Swans, they are wanting to finish this off. But wait a minute. Bongo's not done yet. Just mowing him through. Equal will get one, and Braun will get the other. And Pit Ponies ain't done. They're not done. They go to overtime, and they take it. So, such a close game. I got to say, this is just never ending.
Beat drop and Junk Queen now pulling the ult up as well. So you have the ability to engage with the Whirlwind. Where do you position? So far, Leon's standing quite far back. Now walking up into the forefront of everything. Must be careful for the swing potential from the right with both the Junk Queen and the Reaper lined on up, but trying to pin down onto Bron. The Reaper going in with the ultimate immediately dealt with before they can get that up and running. Now just the purple from the Whirlwind coming through is massive, but they're able to live on through it. Sato takes Bongo down and another re-engage on the left-hand side. The lamp immediately dealt with. Just Pit Ponies turn around, back off, re-engage masterfully.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but I gotta point out, Lion popped their ultimate, and it was canceled by the Orisa Spear.
Oof.
I mean, that was so critical. I mean, they managed to win it, but that could have been in the hands of Swans. I mean, what a game. Already sending us out, and Swans takes the entire cake here. And look at this play of the game. I mean, obviously the play style from Lion, the pulling out of Junker Queen shattered through this game, and I'm hoping that next time we see him, we can bring it again. I mean, just clean with it. The aim, it's perfect.
Yeah, the scattergun coming through massively for the damage, and I mean, ultimately, just, again, another very creative pick coming out from the Pit Ponies. They're the ones that started us off with Bastion this series. They're the ones that pulled out a bit of the Wrecking Ball. They pulled out the Junker Queen at the end on Oasis, and it's been really interesting to see their sort of creativity and coming up with these new plans to put these maps in very awkward positions. A lot of the time in Overwatch, right, Eddie, you see teams just line up the same 5 heroes. They go, well, these are the 5 that are deemed the best. This is the best tank, the 2 best damage, the 2 best supports, and they just run it. But no, we've had both these teams coming with their own sort of take on the game, and that's been very fresh to see.
Yeah, and I love seeing fresh gameplay, and these guys brought in insanely close game. I don't even know if we're ever going to see that again in this season, because it is so...
There's always playoffs.
Yeah, there's playoffs that's going to be coming on, but to open the group stage with that kind of effort and skill is already just blowing out of the water. So, of course, with that game being wrapped up, that is the first match of the day done. We still have one more for us in a little bit, but before we go, I do want to shout out, of course, Prevent. It is a wonderful sponsor of ours that is highly focused on making sure that you guys have an amazing mental health awareness. So make sure, if you aren't already there, join the Discord. You have the ability to maybe look into your own things. If you have a friend in need, or you don't really know where to go, Prevent is there, and it is aiming on making sure that that kind of information is accessible to anybody who may need it. And of course, in Wales, especially at this very trying time across the world, it is a dark time in just the full-on globe here. So if you need some help, make sure to check out Prevent. And with that being said, I am excited to say that we are going to be jumping into a match number 2 in about 20 minutes here. So stick around, everybody. This is going to be an amazing best of 5.
Hello, welcome back to the Welsh Esports League. I'm Golimolly, and this is Edu once again, and we've just wrapped up our first series of the night. It was the Swans versus the Pit Ponies. The Pit Ponies took that in a 3-2 fashion, went all the way, and like we talked about it before, bit of times we've seen a 3-2. We still have one more matchup this evening though, and it's going to be another best of 5, still potential for this to go all the way to the end. Ronda Rising taking on the Wolfhounds. So it's two new teams to the league, two teams that we haven't seen either Season 2 or Season 1. So I'm quite interested to see what we're going to get from these teams coming in. The Ronda Rising played a game earlier this evening and got their first win in 3-0 fashion against the Puffins. So a team coming in, fresh, but with a win behind them already this evening. Can the momentum carry forwards into Game 2? Well, Edu, what are you thinking? What are you thinking coming into this one?
Well, right now, I'm thinking that this is already a high bar to come into after watching game 1 or match 1.
Sure.
I think that the Pit Ponies and the Swans set the standard really high for these players to bring that heat. Of course, it's two different teams. Ronda Rising I actually have not seen compete yet, so I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to be able to do. And the Wolfhounds I have seen compete in Season 2 here at the Overwatch Season 3. So I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing something from EsportsWales here that brings in the same kind of energy that we saw in match 1. But of course, these guys have been waiting a while. They're eager to play. So let's just send them in there. Let's get into map number 1 and hopefully see what is going to be available. But I got to know, what is map number 1? What's going to break these players? I'm hoping that it's Lijiang Tower again. Hey, I was right.
Map number 1 for Lijiang Tower is the week's 1 pick. So here we go. There's a nice little lineup so far. Obviously, Dominus on the side of Wolfhounds made a featuring appearance in our last matchup. If those of you who remember watching Oasis would have noticed a little pop-up coming through, an invitation. But immediately, a very interesting lineup coming in from the Wolfhounds. If this stays. Now, look, Edu, we've always had a little bit of trickery when it comes to the prep phase hero locations, but the Genji, the Junkrat, the Doomfist, bit spicy.
Oh yeah, I think Doomfist is one of those characters that can roll out real fast. I mean, he is the dive comp that you like to see, but Doomfist versus Orisa, that is a tough uphill battle. So I'm not expecting Dominus to stay on that character for more than maybe a single death here. I think immediately switching after it first fails, it would be a smart idea.
On this Bastion, once again making an appearance by Aquino, but the Doomfist able to jump in, immediately swatted away by the Orisa, just like you said we'd see. The Junkrat shooting these rockets in, but not really able to land on any of the targets. Now Genji, well, the trap coming through, but the Orisa, they can fortify and walk right on by. Doomfist jumping to the backline, trying to get the first pick, and is able to do so onto Oren. But Joyboy able to very quickly match up against the Lucio, and Crimson punishes the overextension from the Doomfist and cuts them away. The point will flip in control of the Rising, who are looking to just continue walking through the rest of the map. A couple returns back, Aquino dying to something, and immediately Wolfhound's back on the point, out of nowhere.
Huh. I mean, that's going to help out quite a bit, but looking at this, actually we're seeing the fast turnabout. Last time we saw something this quick, it was a 17 before the switch. This time it's 12, so
yeah,
you can already tell that Wolfhounds is ready to bring that pain immediately, return to sender. So wonder how Rising is going to be able to walk in here. I mean, Ronda, you got to just find something, and the Doomfist is here for it, but unfortunately, we're watching people now just fall down. Meteor Strike plus Pizza Lover. Oh, what a combo. Lots of damage here. The Junkrat just proven what a Junkrat can do. It's explosives. Dude lost his foot, and he's not losing this game.
Well, send it back, run it back, bring this Doomfist in, and it's working out for them so far. Aquino gonna have a little bit more difficulty this time, right? You got the Genji and the Doomfist who are able to get back onto the Bastion, which is something we didn't see come up for Bastions in our last matchup. And immediately, the Doomfist able to knock Eevee right off the back of the map. Pizza Lover now with this solidarity, the slow positioning of the lineup coming out from Rising, and the cut away through it, so the composition's working so far back.
Yeah, and if this comp can pay off, then these guys are going to be able to play off of each other pretty well. So far, we're seeing that it's just a lot of brawling, and the Junk plus Doom combo is just so many stuns, and that's another boot for Joy Boy. And that's going to help out with DBX not being able to play. 74 to 12%, and yeah, good luck staying alive, but unfortunately, it's a cook happening. But what a heal! The Kiriko actually just saves the Doom. Unfortunately, can't save themselves as the Doom dashes right back into Suicide, and there it is. We're seeing a flip of the score line, and I think Crimson's going to just back it up with a beautifully successful team fight.
And now in control, this is where the composition wants to be. You get Aquino set up comfortably. You have either able to use the turrets and use the teleporter, more importantly, to shift the Bastion out from the engage, from the Genji, from the Doomfist, from the potential bombardment coming in from the Junkrat. The question is, how efficiently can they do it? Watching to see where Dominus jumps into. He's just straight into the middle of it, and, well, immediately ulting off the lamp, able to come through to prevent anyone dying to the Doomfist ultimate, but is dealt with pretty swiftly as they back away. So far, really good job by Rising to make sure no one's getting caught out. As I say that, of course, to immediately fall. Of course, I curse them to do so. Now trying to take out the teleporter, that no one can use it to get back from the sidelines into the point. But it hasn't been flipped just yet. The overcommitment by Wolfhound to make sure they win out the team fight comfortably before they look to the point has given a little bit of percentage over towards Rising, but it has guaranteed that they wrap this fight up quickly as well. So, one of those things, you have to pick between the two, and they've gone for get the kills, get that safety net before they go for anything else. A little boop comes through, but they are able to recover because they have many, many quick jumps, and they get the kill instead. And Aquino, well, he tried something cheeky.
Yeah, and you could try all you want, but this is a tire, and it is swinging. Unfortunately, it's not going to kill much here, as there is a nerf to try to force these players off, and suddenly gets a double kill down, triple kill using the ultimate, plus, of course, just the skill of Genji. I mean, Dragon Blade, we know what it can do, and Wolfhounds with their... It's a unique team comp, and yet it is dominating here.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we've gone from the last game, we saw some interesting picks come through, right? Namely, things like the Junkrat, the Junker Queen, and immediately we're like, oh, that's quite nice, you know, we like to see something different coming in. We like to see these teams playing to their own style. Oh, Wolfhounds, what was that? You guys want to see something quirky, see something funky? Oh, how's the Genji Junkrat Doomfist composition for you? You know what? I didn't see that coming. And now immediately, round number 2, we're not sticking to the same composition. No. We're going to bring you something new and something even fresher. It's another Ramatra coming out. We saw a little bit of this from the Swans, but they decided that, you know what, the Ramatra wasn't really going to work out for us here. They cut away. How long do Wolfhounds hold onto it themselves? A very immediate stun coming through, but now able to take this high ground control away. Can't get Aquino set up here just yet, but the point is what they've moved to instead. So the Orisa playing around the point pillar, has Eevee next to them to try and give them some support, and, well, just trying to fight them back.
Yeah, and these guys are fighting all the way back, pushing these players completely out of the realm of possibility here. And now the Orisa just wants to keep being aggressive. The spear, though, will not connect. And unfortunately, with missing that spear, it's going to be a lot harder to kill the Baptiste. But it doesn't matter how hard it is. They eventually succeed. Crimson still doing what Orisas do best and just completely beating down these players and taking a lot of space. But you can take all the space, but you're also taking a lot of damage. And there's the team kill.
Yeah, it's rough, right? I mean, it's what's going to happen. The rest of the team has fallen away. There's now no longer that support system to keep Crimson alive. You will get cut down. A little bit of emoting from the Ramatra on the point. Now going to get ready. Going, oh, they've respawned. They're coming back once again. The Junkrat still doing a decent bit of damage, especially with these choke points now. This is where it becomes particularly difficult to break back through. And the snare coming through just to make it, again, slower entry through these choke points. Waiting on 1 second before that's up and again and available for them. What are they going to do here? Junkrat Riptide nearly ready. The wall being used to deny the Junkrat the sideway angle, as well as the beam coming out from the Symmetra now to cut the team in half.
They're cutting it up. They're just slicing their way through. And talking about slicing, let's see if these guys are going to be able to get enough onto the site. Of course, 40 points in. And I'm hoping that defense is going to just try to take it. Rising anyways needs to get on this site as fast as humanly possible because Wolfhounds is just taking too much. Dominus using that ultimate gets a double kill down after the third, and that is it. They just have all of the space, all of the control. This Ramatra is being unpunished right here. I like it a lot better than Doomfist, but Ramatra is the guy who's bringing the Doom for the side of Rising Ronda.
Well, pushing on through now. The Riptide coming out. That's going to be the sound that every player knows. That's where you run away. The Lamp was committed as well, so potential opportunity for a re-engage here. But Crimson just doing a great job to lead the charge, pulling the remaining 2 defenders in as well. Able to find the final 2 kills. 80% on the point. It'll be higher by the time they're able to flip it with one player running away. So 1 fight still, Wolfhounds. All they really need to be able to push this over the edge, 85%, might be 2. Might be an overtime contest to come out from the Rising, but already moving very far up to take this forward positioning, just to make life very difficult for the Wolfhounds to reach the point. I say that as Crimson goes down.
Yeah, I mean, you said it's being difficult, and these guys are bringing that difficulty up a notch. And oh wait, are they going to be able to cap it? They did. They successfully did it, and they might be able to boop. Nope, just beat down the Kiriko. And they are going to immediately retake it. So in the 5 seconds they had the site is the same amount of time that they lost it. So good effort, but it's 90-25, and game 1 is heavily in the favor of Wolfhounds. They are just hunting and working as the pack that they should.
Well, now you got to find a way to get into contest, as it's going to be an overtime fight here. The wall coming through. Yes, you got the Kiriko ult, but it's not really seeming to be enough, as Dominus is just meeting you at the forefront, struggling to let you past. Even the Blizzard not going to be enough to get the damage through, as Dominus is frozen, he's down, but he's still staying alive through it all. And the Pizza Lover does so much damage output on that Junkrat in the close range engagements to push it over the edge. And Wolfhounds, they take map number 1. They've just stormed through it with very unusual compositions, but playing them so well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of confusion with these players, but the real play of the game is going to be on that Doomfist. The guy made sure to make it look easy and might be able to do it again. I mean, this is what you want to be watching from your tanks, being able to just bring that brawl, take the first point, and completely rock it and lock it. So I like that. But Wolfhounds, they're going to have to show us what they can do in now map number 2. I believe it's going to be the exact same system that we saw before. So map 2 coming up is going to be King's Row here. So I don't know. How are you feeling about that one, Golu?
That'd be interesting. Is it King's Row or do they get to pick a hybrid? I forget how. I think it's they get to pick the hybrid, right?
Oh, so they get to pick King's Row.
It could be King's Row, which yeah. There is an important distinction here, because while teams could pick something that isn't King's Row, it's unlikely. We see a lot of King's Row, for good reason. It's a great map.
All right,
but there is some options.
It's Hollywood?
Okay, Hollywood.
Okay,
interesting.
it's Hollywood then.
That's cool. That's cool. I like to see that. So it's not King's Row. Hollywood is interesting. I think the biggest thing for me with Hollywood is seeing how teams can push this first point very quickly. If you can just get up in their face, I think that's the way you do it. And we've already seen this sort of lean into things like, you know, that Orisa comp very brawly, but on the other side of things, Ramatra, Doomfist. These are comps I want to get up in your face. Junkrats and Genjis. So if they walk up, they get right up in the face of their opponent. I can see this Hollywood first point going very quickly, because while it is one of these sites that you in ranked you're going to get choked out on, in an organized 5-stack, you move so quickly and it comes down to an all-out brawl on the point. If your composition leans into that brawl style of play, which we've seen from the Wolfhounds, you can get quick progress here on Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tough map, but of course, it's a hybrid map where you cap it, you push it, and I think it really comes down to that initial cap. How long it takes. It could be the entire round, or it could be less than 10 seconds. I mean, that's the way that this goes. It's a real flip. But let's jump straight in and see if these guys are going to be making some movie action for us, some movie magic to get us into the wonderful map of Hollywood. And honestly, I'm hoping that they're going to be able to bring the same heat that we saw. Wolfhounds on attack to start us off. I think they're going for that dive comp that we saw on Li Zhang.
What a lineup coming through, by the way. Yet, it's the return of the Doomfist, Genji, and Junkrat, but we're also seeing the Brigitte-Zenyatta combination. Now, Brigitte-Zenyatta was a combination that we saw quite a while ago, sort of the tail end of Overwatch 1, when that Zenyatta was just so strong, and Brigitte was still an absolute menace. And you would basically just have the Brigitte playing pocket for the Zenyatta. How this is going to work here, I'm not quite sure. If it's going to be quite the same sense as pocketing the Zenyatta, but more instead just getting that Brigitte forwards onto the point, for that threat. Immediate poke damage coming through, though, jumping up to the high ground, using the pinch to keep them up there, and Eevee just immediately going down. The sentry from Illari just not able to really get that desired input, and now Doomfist running further and further in as suddenly just dives through Orin 2.
I gotta shout out Jakey with that observing. The way that we watched Doomfist fly up and then switch to the Genji behind, that was some clean, crispy OBS. But let's see if they're going to be able to do it again, and almost hits them, but doesn't really matter. You can let the Wrecking Ball run around as long as you get to cap it for free, and that's what they're doing. The second tick and maybe the third. And no, Wrecking Ball finally shows up and doesn't last very long. So Wolfhounds, they take it on the first push. Actually, wait, guys, get on. There you go. Now they take it on the first push.
Well, you said you wanted to see some movie magic. You just didn't expect it to be on this side of the screen. I think you're looking at now how they keep going, just running through the rest of this map. The respawn's coming through. Suddenly has to be a little bit careful as I say that. Joyboy able to get the final kill through with that star cannon, sun cannon. Sentry up on the wall. Pretty cool how you can throw it up on walls. A pretty cheeky little placement for it there. As the double Doomfist engagement now coming through, Crimson feeling the Wrecking Ball isn't quite what he needs. But has to drop away. Has to give the space to Dominus jumping back on up. Holding that high ground is really important to do. And you can see that's why Dominus really showing that tendency to over-aggress, overstay for it. But how do you get the support to his... Look, he's back to full HP already, and Crimson forced to back away. There's nothing you can really do. I say that as Joyboy able to get another kill onto Suddenly.
Yeah, and now look at this, though. Crimson just going aggressive, but Zenyatta decides that a Zenyatta's foot is stronger than Doomfist's fist and just keeps kicking him off the map. That's funny, but luckily Joyboy is going to finish it off with that wonderful amount of damage. And Dominus still being aggro, still looking to grow his KD. But wait a minute, no one's on payload. It's just moving backwards right now.
They've forgotten the cart.
Who needs objectives when you just punch?
But they're fighting outside the enemy spawn. Just have one person stand on it.
Oh, that's too much to ask for. And yeah, they lost a lot of lead here, and now they're actually getting taken down. So you gotta play objectives. This isn't a deathmatch.
Don't tell Wolfhounds that. They don't want to hear that. Why stand on the objective when you can try and kill instead?
Good question, honestly. I mean, my idea is that these guys should be able to just maybe find 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 10, 20 picks. Pretty simple stuff.
Before the fight, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
get
what
10
is a
picks,
fight?
go in for a fight. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, see? Case in point. Here's a free one. Oh,
well, they take down Orin.
Oh. Crimson able to get out using the ultimate, but all of this damage from the hit scan and wonderful transcendence to keep him alive. And there we go. We got the Dragon Blade, and it is slicing and dicing. And unfortunately, you can't run away from that Eevee, and they're not done. Still being able to turn around, and just the reaction time of this Genji turning about, and that is now. Look at this. There's one person on the payload. They learned from their mistakes.
Oh, Anna in the 1v1 of a lifetime. Come on, you got this. Support. Oh. Nope, never mind. It was actually the rockets from the soldier with a final nail in the coffin. Like, you've got to try and help out as best you can, but the deflect making that a little bit awkward. As suddenly still just chilling in the spawn of the opponent. Aquino trying to get aggressive now, but just going to be lunged on by the Doomfist. And this payload slowly but surely rolling. Todd doing the humble work now by standing on the point. Joined by the Genji temporarily. That's a first for you right there. Screenshot that. Genji on a payload. But now the defense have to find a way to try and retake some space.
Let's see it. Of course, taking as much space as possible is, of course, they grab this pick, but Dominus just... He's even confused as how he got so high so fast. I mean, that was an insanely clean curve up the wall. But let's see this now. Going in for the high ground, slamming in. Let's find out. Obviously, the defense, they have no idea where Dominus could be, but there we go. It's a Doom difference. And immediately with a just instant meteor strike, and it will be punished, but Dominus is just given the space to push the payload. But you can have all this space, but no one's on it. Push the payload.
Well, they finally heard you. They put Todd back on payload duty, but Joyboy coming through with the ult from the Illari. It gets so much damage done, showcasing the power potential of this, I remind you, support hero, by the way. Just coming through with a double kill. get the damage and the healing all at the same time, keep everyone tip-top shape, while making sure your enemies go back to that spawn room. And now you're looking for how do you break this? The high ground comfortably in control for Rising now, and Crimson finally found the groove here on the Doomfist, I think it's fair to say. Find a way to start getting these engages going on. Dominus jumping on up, forcing back so much space already, though. They're overly respecting this, and Pizza Lover using the concussive mines to jump up and join him. They take down the first two, and Eevee right at the back of the map here, looking for a way to get the gunfire down, try and work a way to find a pick onto Dominus, but it's just not enough. And Joyboy is able to finally shut down Pizza Lover on that Junkrat who's been running amok up above. But it's not really enough. Crimson back into the fray to stop the payload from continuing to roll. A little bit of fire damage coming through onto Dominus, but again, the healing just ready to go. What do you do? How do you find a way to break this? Zenyatta caught out in a corner.
Oh, and just immediate transcendence. I mean, the guy is transcended above you, and now it looks like above and beyond is what we're seeing Wolfhounds play like. And hopefully we're going to see some more. Joyboy has been the MVP of this round. That Sojourn that heals the new character, being able to just completely shatter these ones. But, of course, when a purple player is not able to heal, we're seeing just Eevee just doing the pot shots, maybe trying to help their teammates out. And defense handling this choke fairly well, giving them the space to push in and then just punishing anybody who goes past this wide door.
A little bit of dynamite laid down as a pre-fire. You know, they maybe walk around the corner, they get caught out by that by surprise. DBX still trying to put this long-range fire down on the Zenyatta, and it's doing a good job of giving support to Dominus, who's just lunging into the background. Crimson finally able to come up tops in that, but both the Junkrat and Genji ultimates coming through to try and disrupt. Suddenly, he's able to get the pick onto Doran, now chasing down onto Joyboy as well. He's able to use the blast to knock them back, giving himself a little bit of space to play around, but still so low, trying to dodge around. Suddenly, doesn't need the Dragon Blade to get the kill, and Crimson will go down here pretty shortly. I say that as he's still alive, but now will finally go down. Able to ultimate down as Dominus takes down Eevee as well. Oren back through the wall, but immediately cut down by the Genji. And a full complete here on Hollywood point number 1. 53 seconds in the bank, still decent as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than an over. We actually haven't seen a real overtime yet. Wolfhounds just knows how to finish what they start, and they are starting on a high with winning map 1, winning the... winning map 1, and in map 2 here, they're already starting off pretty strong, as we pointed out, with that 53 seconds remaining. But Golu, I'm looking now towards what kind of team comp. I think Crimson should not answer a Doomfist with a Doomfist, because Dominus is proving to dominate, and if that is what happens, you're not going to get very far. So I would want there to be more of a counterplay that isn't just picking the same hero, and unfortunately, they're picking the same hero.
Oh dear. I mean, it always happens, right? You always see teams kind of lean into this. It's hard to say, right? Because I do agree with you. I think it's always hard to find a reason to find the value in a counter pick when you're just sort of being outmanned on it. I think Crimson's proficiency on this pick did increase as the map went on, and so given a little bit more time to sort of get that groove, I can see that coming in and being a thing that works for them. But what else do you go for? Do you go for a Roadhog to try and hook it away? It's so hard to lock down Dominus on this Doomfist pick. Even when we saw things like the Orisa come through, it wasn't ever truly efficient.
Yeah, I think what really came through right now is Crimson's just not able to rock it in. But look at this. The aggression from defense. They've got a huge flank to try to just get in the damage. And they will grab Joyboy, but Joyboy gets it picked no matter what. And this is looking just a complete brawl battle between these teams. They have to push on, and defense, they have, I think, it lost too many players to actually hold the site. So Rising, they're rising the stakes, and we're actually seeing Crimson just beat down this poor Brigitte, but there is the heal that comes through, and surprisingly, they haven't taken a single tick yet. Objective gameplay is just something these guys struggle with a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, leading into that very early fight, and if it works out, great, but it is a bit of a gambit for the reasons you can see, where Control goes straight over to the attack, finally able to jump through and get that contest, but not jumping back on it again. Committing and chasing off the point has left them to losing it so early on, and Dominus caught away makes it very hard to go for another re-engage. I say that as the Genji just committing to the fray, committing to the chaos, and, well, is able to shut down the Alari Sentry. That's something, I guess, but it's going to have to force themselves back. As well, it's going to be a little bit of lining up here to do for them, as we should expect to see some high ground control taken over by Rising. But again, Crimson jumps so deep in, and DBX cuts away.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking a little different. Rising being able to just turn about, but what is this? Where'd you go? And Dominus, the aggression, I think, is getting really punished here. He's not able to go in with a kill, but Pizza Lover still able to do some damage with Dominus making the space. But I would think on this defense side, I need to see a lot more of the attackers being able to just get one, but DBX, bad positioning there from the Sen. And oh no, there we go. That is what you need to do, and Dominus is here to clean it up. So surprisingly, defense has really started turning things around. I mean, I thought that they were struggling, but unfortunately they are still kicking it. Dominus waves goodbye to Crimson and might be able to do some more damage here for these players.
And just flies across the map to grab the health pack. Doesn't want to get... I mean, DBX already has the ultimate ready, right? So you're looking at a pretty good spot here for the side of Wolfhounds to hold on to this next point. Soon to come up with the rally as well for the Brigitte. So just holding on to the high ground, and there's so many tools to knock them back, knock them away, and Dominus just doing a good job of preventing any movement on this payload, just very carefully dancing around the point. Oh.
All right, and oof, what a nice clean shot. Suddenly takes out Joy Boy, and let's see if he can do it again. Dinks one, but does not get the follow-up, and that's a Sojourn, so not exactly a fight you want to try to take there. But good cleanup, and Dominus just doing what he can to grab Crimson. I really think Crimson needs to switch to a different tank. I know I'm being hypercritical, but it just hasn't really come through, and the diff between one Doomfist over the other is very apparent.
All right, well, Crimson jumps up to the high ground, kicked down away by Zenyatta. Vegeta in a 1v1 versus Eevee, using the shield to keep themselves alive and let that regen start to pop on through. But again, high ground still in control. There's plenty of time for Rising, so there's not too much to worry about here, but this very scattered team fight isn't helping their chances, as again, the support's caught off guard, but it doesn't seem to matter. Joybleed is able to get one before quickly being shut down by Todd, who's got very aggressive into the fray, but found themselves over-positioned and overextended and will be cut down. Dominus now has to try and back away from the point as the rest of the team has fallen behind him. Is able to dance away back to safety. This payload not moving. Wait, someone set up the payload. Reaper. Yep, there we go.
All right, well, I mean, hopefully we're seeing people sit on the payload. This has been a problem on this map. It's just so much distance to coverage, and they're more focused on making the space instead of taking the space. But that's going to make some more space. A beautiful ultimate from the Junkie Boy, sending in the tire, and it's ripping through. But Dominus ain't done. Still swinging and hitting, but defense. They have a huge advantage here. They're burning the clock. 2 minutes remaining. Joy Boy healing them up like you can, but unfortunately, they still have not taken a lot of space on this attack side, as they're just getting gunned down here, and that's an ultimate. Hopefully Joy Boy can find somebody with it, but no, it's just going to get burned through.
Well, moving to try and take this high ground. Eevee now consistently getting the better of Suddenly. It really is helping them. Dominus forcing to go back. The Kitsune Rush coming through to give them so much extra damage output. But so far, no kills being found off of it. Diving on in with the backline with the Doomfist, chasing up to the high ground as well. And, well, Joyboy gets swiftly punched in the back of the head. The Kiriko dash goes through. Now a little bit vulnerable behind the back of the jail. Dominus just, again, looking for the hunt, looking to try and chase them down. Suddenly joining as well to try and hunt down their fellow trainee, but can't quite get the job done. I say that as they run into the waiting arms of Pizza Lover. Dominus needs a little bit of healing here, but the shielding consistently keeping them alive, but Crimson eventually able to win out that war of attrition.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just really locking it in, but Pizza Lover able to shut down Crimson. We got this Junkrat just so clean with it, but I do want to see a lot more from the side of attack. I think Crimson needs to hopefully get that connection to make the space, but there's only 45 seconds on the clock, and they are pretty close to the site, but not close enough, a bit too far. So Wolfhounds, I think they want to be taking this game, and they have shown what they can do, especially Dominus. I mean, the guy is unpunished for how he likes to play the Doomfist.
It's because he's so quick and fluid with these motions, right? Like, a lot of these movement abilities are, in theory, very one-directional, but he has this mastery of it where he's able to sort of twist and turn in the air to really cut down this distance. as he jumps around the corner with the fist as well, finds himself right in the back line next to Joyboy. He messed up the jump a little bit and now has to back away. But again, timer's ticking down. Someone's got to play the man to touch the point. Eevee's going to go down on top of the building, so she's not going to have the opportunity to jump down as well. And now the Solari Blast once again going into the terrain from Joyboy as Dominus and suddenly are just controlling all the movement from Rising. There's no opportunity for them to touch that point. No way that they can contest. And that's going to be the end of map number 2. The Wolfhounds going 2-0 up into the series. Rising are going to have to find a way to win out on not only Escort, then on to Push, and then a contested control map for map 5 if they want to pull off a reverse sweep victory.
Yeah, I mean, Joyboy, even though getting play of the game, it's just... You're a support. You're not the person that's supposed to be getting all of these picks and carrying your team that bad. It's a little disappointing to see that match not go in the way of at least the team that I thought would be popping off thanks to Joyboy, but I think Crimson might have dropped the ball a bit. But now we're moving into the next map. We're looking into a push style, and with it being push, I'm hoping that we can see a little bit of a brawl, a little bit of back and forth. And you know, what's the ideal here for these guys? I'm hoping that get a counter to Dominus's Doomfist, because he will keep bringing it, and if you don't know how to stop it, I think we know what's going to happen next.
I'm thinking like Orisa, you know, you just try and like, as he jumps in, javelin spin, shove him back. Do you go a Roadhog, try and land a hook and just say, hey, teammates, if I hook the Doom, we all just focus him down, try and one-shot him quickly. That's also an option, but it invests a lot of resource into that hook, and I think on something like a Roadhog, that's a skill shot for the matchup. If you miss that hook, you have zero chance of doing anything to this Doomfist. You're just going to get punched around like the punching bag that you kind of are, and just absorb a ton of damage. It's hard to know. I think when you're just this free, and the next map coming through is Junkertown, I think this is a good call. I think this is a map where, especially in the early stage, you're going to have a little bit more difficulty on making this Doomfist work just because of the long lines of sight. However, if you can't control the movement of Dominus, if he's able to close the gap through the openings, well, you're going to have a lot more squishies. You're playing things like a Widowmaker, good try living. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive to see the just ability that these guys have to lock things in. And as you pointed out, Widowmaker could be one of the characters that completely shatters or shuts down some heroes here, because Widowmaker has the highest skill ceiling and the highest rewards for having that skill ceiling set. So let's see if these guys are ready for Junkertown. As you pointed out, snipers are king, and of course, I think Junker Queen's also really good on this map, but we saw a little bit of that on the final match there. But Doomfist, I don't think really has the same ability on this map as others. It's flat. There's not a lot of high ground to really take here, so I can't wait to jump into here. I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing, you know, some more traditional team compositions. A May is solid here to just buy so much time. So Bastion. Junkertown, it's Bastion as well. I mean, old school pirate ship strategy still works on Junkertown. So I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing something like that.
I know it's a risky play into Peter Lover's Junkrat. It seems to be basically a Junkrat one trick. So what does that mean for a potential pirate ship strategy where you're going to have that? I mean, admittedly not quite as stationary as Bastion used to be, right? Now you can drive around in your Sentry, but still an easier, slower moving target that you don't really want to be jumping into something like the Junkrat. You don't want to be dove on by a Doomfist per se. It is going to be interesting. I think everything here is on Rising, especially coming out of a 3-0 win already today. Like, what does that say about this Wolfhounds team who've just come in strong? I don't know if this is going to be a consistent thing throughout the season. Surely, eventually, they get figured out, right? Because teams must eventually figure out a way to play around Doomfist. If not, free runnings through the groups.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of runnings for these guys. We've seen some points get accumulated today, and it kind of sets the stage. We know which teams are we're going to be looking out for the rest of today. The Swans, joined, of course, by the Pit Ponies. I think those are two teams that perform so well, not only against each other, but the other competition in this round here, because they are hard fought and able to adapt well. Wolfhounds, another team that's able to show up large. I was wishing that Rising Ronda or Ronda Rising was able to maybe put up more of a fight in these last 2 rounds so I can get more of a gauge as to how Wolfhounds would do against other teams of the same or similar caliber. But with it being a 0-2 score line, this is where you need to start turning the heat up.
Well, immediately, suddenly coming in, Dominus no longer on that signature Doomfist, instead on the Reinhardt, so a little bit more of a staying presence, and already very far up on the bridge, just trying to get an engagements on, and done a great job of creating this space, pulled right back by the Lifeweaver to make sure they're not getting cut down, but how much space has suddenly been afforded because of the early push. Let's be careful of the damage coming in from the Ashe, though.
All right. Oh, come on, suddenly. Come on, you can do this. You can do this. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm gassing you up, but unfortunately right now Dominus is just taking out Eevee. So that's going to help out suddenly. No more attempt at that, but another attempt at a
yeah, it is going to help because you no longer have that long-range threat coming down.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Hold up. Is that wait, 2 kills from 1 punch?
They called him One Punch Man.
Oh my, I thought that was a Doomfist, but no. There we go. Okay, punish that. Good. Wait, 2 kills from 1 dash. What's happening with these double kills?
We all get double kills, and now Lifeweaver goes down as well. And you're seeing the proficiency of Lifeweaver as a hero within Overwatch 2. The bomb coming through as well, landing on top of the car, able to get the kill onto Dominus, who couldn't raise the shield in time as well. So, despite what could have been a really strong initial push coming out from the Wolfhounds, good little bit of stalling and some heavy work from Crimson, who's found their pick. It's the D.Va. Has come back in and really saved the day.
Yeah, I mean, this D.Va's here to try their best. And I'm glad that we see Crimson on D.Va, but the juke from going a little high ground. Wait, how did you get there? You got yoinked out. Beautiful job. Still managing to keep the player alive, but I don't know how long they're going to be able to thrive. And that is actually a huge Lifeweaver ultimate to try to get them onto the point. And it will succeed. This tree is the tree of life, and now looks like they're fighting for their life. Crimson just at that high ground, just kind of juking the guy, but will be able to get out with just enough HP. And the Sojourn versus Suddenly, and Suddenly, dude survives with 1 HP, and Dominus will still punish. I mean, this is just a back and forth here.
It's just awkward for this support lineup coming in from Wolfhounds, though, because the Todd moving very quickly around Dominus, DBX not really able to keep up, and you see the Transcendence forced to come out, not in response to an ultimate of any sort, but just to give the healing necessary to Dominus to be able to keep going on the point. It is paying off for them as I say that, though. The Bob coming through onto the point to apply that consistent damage as Dominus charges through Eevee, now getting right up in the face from Crimson, has the damage coming in as well, but Todd just drags them back off once more to safety. DRX low, but continuously getting this healing from the Lifeweaver, who's just doing a great job at keeping so many members alive, and finally Crimson will fall and the point will start to push on through.
Wow. And there it is. We finally have the Wolfhounds taking map, or not map, but the first tick of the map. And that's going to put their time decent. They got 3 minutes to work with to get to the next one. And this one, it's very uncommon to see the game end here unless we start seeing a different team composition, like Maze, Symmetras, Torbjorns, people that can really hold for time, you know, Tracers, Lucios, people that like to burn through how much time you got left. But without that team comp, it's down to the aim and the hit scans of like Sojourn and the real DPS here. But Dominus flanking actually just decides to headbutt a corner of a wall. Wait, what's going on? Pizza, what
interesting
are you doing?
Interesting Riptide placement. Lives for so long and gets Eevee at the back of it as well. DBX following through the Dragon Blade from the Genji. He's able to get himself a double kill here, maybe? No, just the one. Has to back away, but does buy out a lamp as well. And Dominus just charging through should be the end of this Baptiste pretty swiftly, or no, escapes on 1 HP, but you know what? You'll take that progress. You're able to get the cart nearly to the end of the point already. What, they started this with 2 minutes 50, 40 seconds later, they've nearly capped it?
Let's see it. Wait. An ultimate. This could definitely stop something, but lands on. Oh, Lifeweaver just completely shut that down, and oh, will be able to grab the tree, but suddenly shoots him in the back of the head and cleans house there. And that's going to be another tick, and they still are at 3 minutes. I mean, it's like time hasn't even stopped for them. So good stuff here.
That was really cool to see. Dropping the tree to block the bomb to save the Junkrat's life. Lovely. Really cool. And now just getting ready to keep moving this point. You can drag them back away as well. And don't get me wrong, it's goofy to see, at least in my opinion, but it's really being used efficiently to pull Dominus back when he overextends on this Reinhardt. Just like that. Just like that. You don't need Doomfist to fly around the map, apparently.
No, you just have to have a team that is in such clean coordination that you cannot tell which player is which because they're just so in sync that it feels like one amalgamation, a hive mind of great gameplay. So let's say if the Wolfhounds, this pack is going to be able to make it work.
Dominus still on the point, still keeping it moving. Pizza Lover has fallen down due to the aggression from the D.Va, as well as the Baptiste applying that suppression cover. Now the team coming back together. Oran caught out. The Shatter should be able to finish off Aquino on the Sojourn too. The Trans coming through just to make sure that Dominus stays alive. And, well, he sent them back to spawn. The shield just standing in the way. A full sweep coming through. From the looks of things, the jump prevents him from catching out Eevee because she's now passed through the doorway. And Crimson just applying a little bit of damage here onto the Lifeweaver, just charging them through, but it's the point they need to keep moving. The tree got down is going to give that consistent healing to make sure they don't go down, as suddenly pulls out, able to Dragon Blade, able to get the lamp down, able to cut through Aquino, and able to end off the round as they roll the point on in. Edu, they've done it. They've completed a run.
Wow. 3-0. In maybe if I mean I may be premature about that. There's still 1 minute and 47 seconds. And that's more than enough for Rising to take it, but I don't think, even if they can take it, Wolfhounds ain't going to give it easy. They're going to be so aggressive. They're going to pull out probably the most time-buying and burning team composition, or they're just going to keep doing the burn-out brawl that they have with the Junkrat, with the D.Va, maybe even a Doomfist yet again. I mean, I can't wait to see what they pick. What are your predictions?
Honestly, I'm not brave enough to make predictions for what Wolfhounds are going to do.
I think they're going to win. I think that's a pretty fair prediction.
That's probably a fair prediction. I mean, in terms of specifics, I think it looks like they are just going to keep running out a very similar composition. Still, once suddenly on this Widow, they started off on the Widow, moved on to the Genji. So this is like a sort of return to that form, especially on this first point, with how open and long it is. Widowmaker really does reign dominant. Still the Lifeweaver, and it's an interesting tool to use to be able to drag this Reinhardt back. Are they trying to lift? What's Reinhardt doing? What's he doing here? Enlighten me. What's Reinhardt going for? Is he creeping up?
I think the real strategy here is a charge and a push right off the map. It could happen, and we've seen him do it before. So if it happens, though, that's immediately just goes for you. Okay. I mean, the smart playstyle might be able to do it one more time here.
Zenyatta on the roof as well, just see if they can force back the D.Va. And they are able to use a bit of a kick to launch them backwards and hold onto the high ground, but Aquino able to finally find the pick onto DBX, and that's going to be a swift retreat from Pizza Lover and Todd, as Dominus, now no longer with that support network, has to fall back. A nice little shot from Suddenly to take Eevee away as they fall. But Joyboy getting aggressive, using that long-range gunfire to finally shut down the backline. And this payload will be moving pretty swiftly. A nice initial take coming in from Rising.
Yeah, I mean, pretty clean so far, but Crimson, this positioning has been so up close and in your face that it is working pretty well, buying all of that space to just have the cart push. I think with Crimson being this up close, getting these picks, I want maybe 2 people on the cart to actually capitalize on how fast you can take that space, but Crimson now still in a position to scare these players back. Zarya getting pulled out is a little crazy because Zarya is a do or die, and unfortunately against a D.Va, it's good because, you know, it just burns through the defense matrix, but if you get your black hole eaten, that could completely change things.
Now on the high ground, looking to try and apply that pressure. The Zarya coming through for Dominus is absorbing so much damage with these bubbles, but the purple coming through could be massive. The drag from Todd up to the high ground once again, but the nuke thrown a little bit too high, not able to quite get the damage. Does take out a steel trap, I guess, but with Dominus back on the point now, can they get the healings in? No, Crimson able to do a masterclass at just charging them down. Gets DBX for the efforts as well, and they should be able to push this point through. Todd, yeah, on that Life Weaver, doing a great job dropping the tree to keep that healing going, to keep them alive. The Junkrat springing around as well with the consistent damage from the concussion blasters, but still, just the healing. The consistent output should be enough. I say that as although Joyboy is able to take down suddenly, Crimson is going to drop now in baby mech mode, but still going ham.
Wow. Still ham here, and unfortunately, these guys are being cured. They are just taken out, but where are you going? Where are you going, Zarya? Looks like you're not going very far. They're still chasing, and that's going to shut down Dominus. A huge setback there if you're losing out on your tank, and now you're going to have to wait for them to show up after all of you have respawned. So Dominus, though, coming into this round with, of course, the black hole, with this graviton surge to really start changing up the path. But what is this? Just DPS all over the place.
Oh, take down the any sentries? Any sentries? Hunting down sentries. Suddenly now on this Symmetra instead. So the sort of double trap lineup between the Junkrat and the Symmetra. It'll be interesting to see how that's able to punish as they push forward. The Graviton Surge coming through the wall to block off the majority of the damage that could be threatened. Doesn't matter though. Pizza Love able to find both the supports with the Riptire and just walk through the rest of the team. What a quick build of that Graviton Surge as well, but that's what happens. And now the Stagger coming through for Crimson. Not quite as soon as they maybe would have wanted it to be, but they'll take it.
And honestly, I think it's pretty clean, but Joyboy is actually going to be taken down immediately. So rest in peace to the previous MVP of the round. But now, the rest of the team is ready to group up. They actually have a little bit of ultimates, and I say a little bit while they have almost all of them. So this could break the way through, but Pizza Lover is not done. Wants to now try to get the flank. And wait a minute. A Symmetra? They're going to burn time. They know that they just have to win it on the huge difference here. So I love the Symmetra pick.
Now the Junkrat just continuing to apply that spam down towards where these supports are, and suddenly going to go down to the just spray coming in from suddenly as well. Peach Lover able to get a Kino, and now the fight inside the close quarters building. This is where the Symmetra thrives. You add the turrets down, that beam just charges up. It's going to burn through the defense matrix and keep on going. The Zarya trying to just continue to apply pressure and takes down Eevee, and Joyboy looking to use that height advantage when you pop the ult to their advantage, but it isn't going to matter. Dominus just staying on point, preventing any movement, and you're now down to 2 minutes left on this clock, which, don't get me wrong, it's still enough time to get the job done. But it certainly makes things a lot harder for you now, as, well, I say that. The Wrecking Ball has just been able to slip through the ranks and drop back for a little bit of payload progression to draw back this Wolfhound's lineup, but so much forward pressure is being put towards the back line that, yeah, this Wrecking Ball can mess around in the background, but it's not really doing anything.
Yeah, it's not doing much, but let's see if we're going to be able to get some real picks. Of course, I like the Symmetra TPing right into it, and that is going to just completely split the site. And comboed in with the Graviton Surge, and there we go. It's 95 plus amount of beaming it down. I mean, come on, what do you do against this? They're just burning your time. You're stuck in a choke point, and this is the second grab that we're going to see. And it's just so much damage. The average energy of this player is insane, and they're bringing the energy to match it. So Dominus, come on, keep cooking.
Dominus trying to walk back up to the point now, takes down Joy because nowhere to run. The sentry still on the wall, applying that healing. It will be taken out by Pizza Lover's ultimate. I'm sure the Riptide would have looked for a bigger target, but 100% charge. The question is, the burn comes through so quickly. Crimson applying that focused fire with Eevee now walking up onto the high ground, has to drop away that Discord Orb, applying to the damage that they're taking. Rocking up this point to try and tick it through with only 30 seconds left, but DBX wins out the fight. The contention coming through as well. They're just not allowing it to pass on through. Life Weaver doing a great job of buying as much time as possible. The tree goes down, but they can't get anyone else onto the point. Dominus swapping onto his signature Doomfist, but it's a little bit too late to get back for the contest. So, gonna have to see how this fight plays out as they're coming up spades anyway. Edu still able to win it out.
Yeah, I mean, they might be able to win this entire thing out now, but they start this third point with less time than Wolfhounds had at the end of it. So this could be a do or die or make a break, and these guys have to make a break for it. Running it down defense is in that old school strategy. They have such a pug comp. They got the Sombra, they got the Doomfist, they got everything that they need to do some weird plays. And honestly, I think their biggest strategy is just playing with characters that no one really knows how to counter, but Joy Boy countering smart by just doing the early damage and getting so aggressive. Who needs anything but Joy Boy on a team? The guy is just a one-man army.
Really just putting a masterclass for what you can be as a threat on support. And, well, I say that as DBX is now starting to apply a little bit of pressure, but it doesn't matter. Even getting up in their face, suddenly he's able to get the trade out, but you do lose DBX. You do lose the Zenyatta as, again, they're continuing to push this point round the corner. The Eraser coming out now as a response to try and deal with the aggression.
Yeah. Let's see this deal with these guys. Deal or no deal. Let's see what's in the box. They're going for it. Crimson is low and hacked, and that's going to just set a damper down. Dominus, though, is down as well. The power of the Mei to slow down the Doomfist is working wonderfully. They have to just keep this going. Just keep it cooking. Keep these players alive.
Well, still pushing forwards this payload. Dominus back out now. Should be able to come back and try to contest it, but not in enough time to save Todd, who's just speared and skewered against the wall. The Blizzard coming through now as well to allow this payload to continue rolling. It is overtime. It's do or die now for Rising, who need to get this rolling on through. And with the kills, the kill feed all lining up blue, they're able to do just that and push it through.
Wow. I mean, beautiful job. That's what I would expect the best from them, and they managed to bring us, but we're not done. I think, we're not done, but we are ready for these guys to get into the next stage of the game. We're ready for a 2-minute 47-second push versus a 60-second push. So not a lot of time remaining, but I think if Rising is able to pull the energy that they pulled from that last moment into this, we could see them bring a 2-0 into a 2-1.
What happens here? I mean, you're looking at Rising, right? And for those who aren't aware, when it's overtime, or when it's this extra period of attacks, collecting a point does not give you any charge. It does not give you more time in the bank. So 60 seconds is basically, if it moves uncontested, enough to walk it to the end of the first stage. Now, obviously, it will be contested. And the lineup coming through is a lot more of a sustainable Wolfhounds than we've ever seen previously on any of these three maps. They're bringing in the Sigma, who's just, again, aims to stay and is so powerful on longer maps and longer sightlines. The one you particularly see it on is that Circuit Royale, because you want that deployable shield to be able to play to cut off angles to enemy Ashes and Widows, as well as support your own. Plus, you pair Todd no longer on that Lifeweaver, now on the Baptiste for the Lamp to keep you alive, to keep you in the fray. Eevee already jumping in behind the Widowmaker, though, just doing so much damage.
Wow, a lot of damage to be dealt, and they know how to work it. But look at this, Pizza Lover kind of scared off a bit, and that's going to help out a ton. But Eevee, wait, what did he kill Todd with?
Just slaughtering them.
What ability was that? I couldn't even recognize it in the kill feed.
Eevee just on this Sombra, running around and massacring the backline here, just looking for that extra damage ability, that extra output on the hack. Can't be caught out. The hook coming in, beautiful to take down DBX, but the timer ticking away. It is now overtime. So if anyone leaves this point, it becomes a lot more awkward for them. They need to make sure someone is on it at all times. The sleep here on the Junkrat is going to net themselves a lovely little kill. Again, the payload contested. The Sigma dropping the barrier at perfect time to prevent the hook, but still just walking on through it. Roadhog getting this damage down, but can't find a way to fight through the barrier.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Crimson is still here to now turn up with the Roadhog. I mean, this is not the pick that I had expected to be coming into this round, but Roadhog is one of my favorites. Actually, I used to main him way back in beta of Overwatch 1. So I think that with Roadhog now just really wanting to secure the deal here for this team, it's all about how they land these hooks. They could make or break it. And with overtime, you want survivability. Eevee spots Pizza Lover, who can't really do much. Guy's kind of just there, and this sneaky play that he's doing is so readable. Oh, where are you going?
Oh, the translocator in the wrong position, but it doesn't really matter. Eevee purpled. Not Eevee, sorry. Crimson purpled. It's going to give Dominus the opportunity to take them down. It just takes one big ultimate here, but the hat coming through has stopped Dominus from going off, which has maybe kept their team alive. I say that as it's forced them off the point. The overtime runs out. And Rising, after a really good push, to be fair to them, they've gotten through the first checkpoint. They've gotten it around the corner. Now they need to see if they can hold off for 2 minutes and 47 seconds. That is a long time.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of time here to work with, and I'm surprised the cart only got this far. I thought it would definitely get a little bit deeper into point 2, especially with how great of a start they began with.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you never expect just getting pushed off like that in such
it's just
a
overtime
swift motion. Yeah.
That's the real difficulty. Like, if they get more time in that bank, they lose that one fight, they come back again. It's why someone like Sigma is so powerful in overtime. Because his ult, you just drop it on the objective, and it will lift them too high. That's what he's going for. That's all he's trying to do, is just lift them off the point long enough for overtime to tick away. And that was ultimately their undoing, right? Like, if that's a normal round, they just pick up from where they went and just go have another crack at it. But that's why you need that time. That's why 2 minutes 47 is going to be a very significant change-up for them. Because if you have an ult like, I don't know, an EMP comes through for Eevee and you lose one fight, that's not the end of the world. You can come back from that, but only if you leave yourself the time to do so.
Right, and these guys are leaving themselves just so much opportunity to try to take it. Of course, they just gotta get it 22.16 meters after point 1, so should be a possibility for them. Real talk, though. What do you feel about the Sigma pick?
It's pretty funny, to be fair. I do like it to come through on this part of the map, especially if you can push it up right into Akanu's face to just stop him from getting in. The hat coming in from behind is going to be an issue for them, though, as it's really applying that damage onto Todd on the Lucio, but so far unable to land the kill. Is just too slippery to catch. And now Crimson, isolated off a little bit, is going to land the hook perfectly onto the Junkrat, take him down with a melee follow-up. And now in the backline as well, looking for another pick onto the Ana behind. The hook not quite landing on its target.
Wow. And with that not landing, these guys are trying their best to make it work. And of course, Sigma's strategy, it kind of gets hard countered by the Roadhog being able to get pulled out of their comfort zone. And that, you know, Sigma Suck can't do too much here. So I would think that we might see a switch, and yet we are. We're going to be seeing a Zarya on Dominus instead to try to push them through. Luckily, they had that 2 minute 47 seconds to, you know, not have to worry about too much of like switching around. They get the opportunity to move their characters and start doing those counter picks. But Jesus, Dominus, I don't think he's walking away from this one.
Well, that's the first fight loss coming in for them, and a lot less progression on the payload than their counterparts had at this point in the game. The hack thrown to the Genji now as well. The potential swift kill comes through as Eevee once again just putting in a masterclass. Just so much work on the Sombra.
Yeah, I mean, Eevee knows how to get behind people and just kind of buy a lot of attention. And that's what you do on Sombra. You just get people to look away, and you get them not to be focused on where they should be looking. I mean, look at Dominus, kind of panicked. This is the third character they've played yet, and unfortunately, dude's panicking that there's a Sombra around here as his teammates are getting completely shafted by this wonderful lurk. And just, again, Crimson needs to keep landing these hooks, and unfortunately, though, if they give up this point, that could be GG.
Okay, well now, you know, on the back step of the next part of this map, 17 seconds until we hit overtime. They have the whole hog, they have the EMP, they have all 5 ults, so everything you need here to line it up perfectly to go for a wombo combo play. There's ults on the other side of the table going out as well, as all 5 invested from the side of the defense. The quick kill comes through onto Aquino, and now you have to find a way for someone to touch it from the side of red, but they can't. Wolves just all getting cut on down, and Rising have done it. I say that as the Ana walks onto the point, gets cut down immediately, all 5 kills. They've done it. Rising have stopped them at the last line of defense to find a map win for themselves here on Junkertown. And now it's going to be, at very least, a push coming up, the tire flying through the background.
Is that tire supposed to do that, or is that?
I have no clue.
That is crazy.
I haven't seen that before.
That's funny. I mean, they almost got killed post-match. That's wild. But again, it's Joy Boy back to back getting these plays of the game. So hands down, a great way to make a comeback there. Wolfhounds,
yeah,
a little bit concerned moving into this next map here, which should be that push, should be the map of either Colosseo, Esperanza. Maybe we might see your favorite map here, Golamola.
Please. Yeah, I think it's the most balanced of all of them. From my perspective, I think it's the one where, you know, Push has this issue of you can very quickly find yourselves on a very big deficit in a game that's hard to overcome, because you have to basically undo all the work of your opponents before you can then start doing work yourself. It'd be like if Control, when you cap a point, rather than starting yours from 0, you then have to like count down your opponents before you can count up yours. That's kind of the vibe, right? So it is difficult, and especially I think of all the maps, it's the one that has the least terrain advantage for the team that's already kind of winning. When you get those kills, you can move through pretty quickly, and as a team that's retaking space, you can move further forward than you like on shorter paths to cut off the sort of setup of your opponent. So I think that really helps in being able to win sort of multiple fights, even through like ultimate disadvantages, for example.
Right. I'm hoping that we are going to be seeing these guys just adapt, really. You got to adapt. I think they did on Junkertown compared to those first 2 maps. I think it took them way too long to realize what wasn't working. And once they did, though, beautifully played in being able to switch it up. I mean, Roadhog, you can't win that game without just those immediate picks. And forcing Dominus, who was very confident on his tank picks, to second guess, triple guess what he was doing. And unfortunately, when you only got 2 minutes to win a game, you're not going to have enough opportunities to keep switching to another agent and another hero and another hero. You just got to full send it and make it work. And if you can't make it work, well, you're going to have to make it winnable in game number 3 here. So actually game number 4 now. So moving into this next map, I'm hoping that we're knowing what's going to go down. Jakey, do you have any idea what's going to happen next here? I think he's going to say New Queen Street. So no Esperanza, same exact push as game or match 1.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. I'm interested to see what comes out. I think the big thing for me is Wolfhounds. We saw them sort of lean away from things like well, mainly the Doomfist, right? They still ran a bit of Genji, they still ran a bit of Junkrat. I don't know if that's just the answer. It really, really looked like Rondo Rising didn't have a good response to the Doomfist. Keep running it. You're doing fine on it. Just run it back again. There's no counter coming through. They're not really stopping you. Oh no, that's my 2 cents.
I don't know if Doomfist is going to be great on New Queen Street, though. I mean, again, it comes down to the fact Doomfist needs to have high ground. On Hollywood, it's 80% high ground. People are sitting in those tall areas. I mean, especially in that last point, you got the scaffolding. He does more damage the higher he comes from. So this map doesn't give that much opportunity outside of after first point. But, you know, aside from that, I think that we are going to be seeing him on maybe a Reinhardt. We saw it, you know, a little confident there. Reinhardt, Sigma, I think Shield and Sigma is really powerful because it could pull people right off of that point. You know, you also have Hammond, I think, could be doing wonderful things as well. Mind, it's just everybody has an agent except for Doomfist. Doomfist is not one of the tanks that I bring. Orisa, another tank that you shouldn't bring to this game mode. So I think with those out of the way, off of the roster, we'll be able to jump straight into this next game and see what they actually bring, as we are ready for potentially another 5-game sweep here. But it's all about the picks.
Well, what do they pick? 1 second until we find out. Reinhardt. Junker Queen. Okay.
And Roadhog.
Eevee still rocking the Sombra as well. Very effective in the end of the last game. I can understand why they'd want to run that one back again. You know, keep going on that one. I like to see it.
And let's see if these guys, now being as rocked in as they want to, and of course, I think we need to also see some more from the supports coming out from Wolfhounds. It's been a few rounds since we actually saw him get a few amount of kills. I mean, DBX is one of the first people to go down every fight. Like, the Roadhog hooks completely have shut him down.
Yeah. Well, already forward positioning due to this extra speed to get off that Junk Queen. Nakino goes down as they just run through Joyboy sentry as well. They take down Oren. Peter Lover finally going down to the Sombra, lurking around on the bridge up above, but firm control of the point over in favor of the Wolfhounds, who come out dominantly after the end of that first engagement.
Let's see this now.
Peter Lover on the Torbjorn.
Ooh, Torb. I think switching away from Junkrat and going for the Torb is actually a smart idea, especially with how much space the Torb can give you and the fact that you don't have to worry about as much damage. But Jesus, that was a lot of damage, a lot of DPS onto a Roadhog.
Big throw with that dagger as well. Once again, Junk Queen showing value in being able to displace your opponents, and now setting up this sentry on the Torbjorn in a very forward position where it's going to have this longer line of sight, sort of control a lot of the movement coming into the point, gets the final kill onto Eevee despite being only 9 HP on the turret itself, finally does go down to Crimson, but so much movement, still firmly in control of the Wolfhounds. There's been no real contestation coming back, and this continued trickle through of players from the side of Rising is really not working out for them. The switch to the Orisa doesn't matter. Dominus cuts through them, and now they're camping outside their spawn.
Wow. Camping and ready to just make it work here. These guys have the skills that pay the bills, and they're gonna have to pay the bills somehow. Of course, around $400 US, 300 pounds on the line for the whole season here. So starting off strong, they just want to be taking it. And also the pride of saying you're the best in your country is what Esports Wales is all about. But talking about being the best, look at suddenly just so much damage and scaring these players back. Wolfhounds is just so confident here. They're just walking it down. Oh,
well, able to pick onto DBX, and now look to follow through the rest of the fight. It was flying ragdoll style. It's a classic animation in Overwatch, right? The Genji who dies mid-fly, Mei dying when the wall goes up. That's another good one.
I think what's funniest about that was that he dashed into the ground, so his face was just grinding and just slid all the way across. So I think that just made it so much better than if it like flies into the sky, but still crazy stuff.
Well, now looking to see what happens here. The Dominus on the Junk Queen caught out by the wall, but able to sort of dance around it because they made too low to really be able to sustain that close range engagement. The healing coming through to try and keep the tank alive, and it doesn't even matter. Crimson's the one that goes down first, despite having a massive health lead at the start of that engagement. And now suddenly, just cutting through the enemy team as all 5 go down. The robot not even able to make it back to the pylon before it's being shoved back the other direction, marching closer and closer to a Wolfhound's victory here on map number 4, New Queen Street. The close spawn reactivated as well, so any initial picks are going to have a lesser advantage now. Just playing tight around the corner. Crimson goes down.
Wow. I mean, look at the score. 0 to 85. But looking at Dominus, this guy is just so aggressive and maybe a little bit too aggressive, getting eager for those kills, leaving Pizza Lover behind. And if you don't have your tank with you, it's going to be tough to keep going. But talking about keep going, they're pushing it farther and farther, already triple digits. Less than 4 minutes into this game, and they might be able to keep it going. Suddenly as well, doing a great job. And Dominus is not done. Just has to find this Joy Boy and Will. And I think this is going to just completely shift the game in their favor. But Crimson switches it up, but that ultimate might be able to keep them in the game a little longer. But will they actually be able to get any meterage going on? They still have yet to get a single centimeter.
It is going to be hard to call a final judgment, I think, because we, like you mentioned, haven't really seen that initial power play come through for the side of Rising outside of that Orisa nano boost. And now they're off of the Ana as well, so we're going to a Baptiste instead to try and play for this lamp. Pizza Lover's coming through with the Molten Core and able to get a double kill by himself. Joyboy just going for the kill onto the site, cut down by Todd with the kunai from the ground as well. And, well, Edu, it's back in control of the Wolfhounds yet again.
Yeah, I gotta wonder, why did they give up the point? Because no one died. They let Wolfhounds pick it up before it was too late. Like, Wolfhounds just walked up to them, and I think they gave them too much respect and just gave it up, because that could be the game-losing throw here. But Dominus doesn't care, takes that one out, and time for the reckoning, just shredding through him. What a play. Does it again. Come on, Dominus. Bonk right on the back of the Baptiste. Might do it again onto this player, the Zarya. But looks like they're just rushing to die, and that is it. Pizza Lover with the double, a 5-player streak. And wait, there's a Mei. And there is no longer a Mei, and that's the game.
Well, we had a very close Junkertown, and I think coming out of that, Wolfhounds went, guys, I think we were supposed to win a bit sooner. I got somewhere to be. Can we speed things up a little bit? And they went, sure, say less, say no more. And they ended the game immediately. Fair play. Pizza Lover. Love to see a Torbjorn play the game. Neil, dead to the turret. Ultimately, a really nice change, right? You said it at the time, the Torbjorn for the Junkrat makes a lot of sense. And the sustained damage from the turret, as well as just have just the nuisance that having that presence, having that entity within the game forced on your opponent worked wonderfully for them.
Yeah, and honestly, beautiful gameplay. I was hoping that we were going to be seeing a non-3-0, and we did. We saw a very close Junkertown game, so good job to Ronda Rising for being able to turn it around a bit. But at the end of the day, you have to worry about Wolfhounds if you're another team in this. If you're one of the 8, then you're going to be a little scared, because Wolfhounds had shown dominance. They knew, I mean, anybody who brings a Doomfist into a ranked match and cannot be stopped is the biggest fish in the sea. So I'm a little concerned about that, but of course, that's all that we have for the day. That was our 2 matches, and pretty fun to be back. I gotta say, it's nice to cast with you yet again, Golu. It's nice to also have Jakey Boy on the observing, and shout out to our producer, Kashi here, for being there to make sure that we are on screen. So I'm happy that we're kicking off season 3 with some pretty fun gameplay.
Yeah, it's been lovely. Lovely to be back. And again, we'll be back this time next week for 2 more games of Welsh Esports League Overwatch 2. Other games going on throughout the week, if they take your fancy. Make sure you tune back on here to twitch.tv/EsportsWales, where we're going to be covering all the action. But until next Tuesday for more Overwatch action, have a lovely week, and we will catch you then. Good night.
Some action for no fee. I see your random beautiful face. I fell in love from afar. like a scene from a Shakespeare play. And I had no idea what to say. And I said, hey, what's your name, girl? 'Cause you seem like the best of fun. What's your name, girl? Sure I wasn't your number one. Hey, what's your name, girl? Couldn't believe what I could see. What's your name, girl? I wanted you all for me. Couldn't believe what I could see. So I offered her a drink for free.